Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Happy Saturday. Hope the light is all right. I just lost a light literally before we went on the air. Welcome to the September 13th edition of the Saturday Overnight, a show which I'm still on the fence about whether I want to restructure or not, but I really loved the last show we did. We crossed a lot of ground and covered a lot of diverse topics, and we still got a lot to talk about. We got the Warner Brothers merger. We have Alien Earth update with that eye thing is still around and inside that sheep. It's getting creepier every episode. We'll discuss that. We will discuss the possibility that Absolute Wonder Woman is the most complete Wonder Woman title that they've published. We can have debates on whether, who's the best and all that. You obviously have the George Perez run. You have a lot of different runs. Mike Deodato Jr. run back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But on a consistent issue after issue basis, artwork, covers, story, I'm approaching the conclusion, at least for me, that the current run in Absolute DC with Wonder Woman is the most complete run that they've done, and we're not even on a year yet. Next month will be a year of that title, but I didn't want to wait till a year. And obviously, it's just like we talked maybe last week. We're going to talk Tupac Shakur, who 29 years ago today, after being wounded on my 22nd birthday, he hung in there. 6 days later, he passed away. Thought he was going to make it up until they announced that he had passed on. So we will be discussing the life and the legacy of him and differences in style between him and Christopher Wallace. What his impact has meant, not just in his life. He was only 25 years old. Like I said with Biggie, it was like it seems like he was been around, that he lived a lot longer, because it's almost like folklore. Somebody that young dying but achieving that much in a small amount of time it's mystifying. It's almost like I'm not comparing him to Martin Luther King, but when you think of Martin Luther King, you think of an otherworldly stature of a person that lived a long lifetime. Martin Luther King was 39 years old when he was assassinated. He didn't even make 40. So when you have people like this that are that famous and achieve so much in a short amount of time, it seems like they were on the planet for 3 times the time that they were. Just like last week with Notorious B.I.G., it's the same thing with Tupac. So we'll go over that. Let me say hi to my chat. Also, thank you to Icarice at Hot 702, my former neighbor here in the New Orleans Square Plaza. Click on her link. Click on her bio there, and then I want you to go to, I'm going to put her link in the chat. And I want you guys to go over there and listen to that stage. And she would probably be a good person to have, but she's watching the fight right now. So, I'm going to, but I'm going to go ahead and put her link in the chat. We do a lot of cross promotion with Hot 702. And we will, even though she's not my neighbor anymore, still, I want you Hot 702 FM. So here we go. All right, and I will attach this to the description as well. So, got too many screens up. I don't know how you guys do this sometimes. There you go. Hot702fm.com. Listen to E. Crease. She's owner operated. She runs that station. Does a lot of talk. So give it a shot. I mean, doesn't cost you anything. And like I said, I hope to have her on the show pretty soon. Like I said, it's fight night tonight. So I will probably have her on here pretty soon. But thank you for the shout out, E. Crease. Duckman, what's going on? Larry Corcus, what's going on? For those of you who suffered with me this afternoon for that dreck of a movie called Mystery Men, up on the link, if you're a masochist and or like to see me suffer, I've gone ahead and just left the link open. I've gone ahead and renamed the link. If you want to make me suffer, go ahead. I can. I'm not Brad. I can take it. So if you want to make a donation and want me to watch your movie, or wow, what's wrong with this hat? Oh, geez. Donate to the link there. We'll take a look at it. There are instructions in the link. Like I said, it has to be something appropriate that we can do a watch party on here for. If we give it a go, if we do not, you'll be refunded. That's if it's something we can't do, you'll instantly be refunded. We'll take a look at the thing and just let me know in the chat if you do it. If not, just leave your movie there and we'll take a look at it. Okie dokie. Hello, Glimmer. Rhea, what's going on? Hold on. What's going on? Let me check my feed because I'm on the good internet now. Let me make sure we are live and you can hear me crystal clear. I'm going to mute myself and make sure that we're good to go before we get going. Hold on. I don't know why that is the case because hold on, let's make sure it sounds fine, but I look like I'm pixelated a little bit. Let's see if we can fix that. That's if you can. Sorry about that. If you can hear me, I'm just making sure we're good. I don't know why that is the case. All right, I'll see if I can fix that in run. Let's see if we can edit this and see if we can change our settings. See, change it. Let's go into settings. See if I can adjust the settings. General resolution, camera. Ooh, that's why. There we go. Okay. Oh, it'd be set to 480. Oh my goodness, I must have looked like claymation. All right, let me know, guys, if that works for you. All right, that should be fine. It was on bad feed. So, hey, Rational, what's going on? Let's see. Wily Coyote Quarter. Samir, what's going on? Let me make sure that fixed it. Let me go all the way down to the bottom. Yes, we are at 300 viewers right now. Thank you, Carice, for boosting me there, and thank you for all that's going on. From Clay to Silly Putty. Hit the like. Yeah, everybody who's here right now, hit like and subscribe. And how you doing, Jared? I might bring you on if you have some time to, because we're going to be talking about your favorite character of all time. But right now, I just want to make sure that we are good. So I'm going to be right back. I just want to make sure. All right, thank you. That was it. That was the StreamYard. Stop. Too much money on a monthly basis. Every time I go into your cave, I find a new relic that pisses me off. It automatically set it to 4. Who's broadcasting on 420? What, the Cartoon Network? What is this? Anyway. All right, so let's see. Coming along. Yeah. That's what it was. I'm too stupid to use anything else, so that's my fault. Streamlabs, I'm too stupid. Stream Elements, I'm too stupid. So StreamYard is basically like, it's like teaching a dog how to fetch. I can do it. But there are things in there that they just add, and it's like, stop. All right, so everybody who is watching us on, let's see, on any other platform other than YouTube, I would like you to do this. There you go, right under my big head, youtube.com/@the Sci-Fi Center. Watch us there if you can. There is the majority of you are watching us on Twitter or on on YouTube. So waiting for my co-host, and so I'll continue to say hi. And then the first topic we're going to go ahead and hit. We're going to go ahead and hit. Tupac. I have not planned a spider. A spinal. I can't talk today. A Spinal Tap watch party. I'm not opposed to doing one, Larry, but I have not planned one. Okay, so I skipped some of you guys so that I could fix my issues in there. Daniel Martin, long time no see. How are you doing? Good night, John Boy, for those of you senior citizens who watched the Waltons when you were kids. Chilling like Matt Dillon. Oh, my goodness. All right, I'll send you a link here in a second. Let's see. Just finished binging Avatar. Congratulations. Yes, I got a chance to see Long Walk unexpectedly the other day because I actually left my other gig earlier. It's intense. I didn't even get a chance to do a review because I wasn't really planning on being where I saw it. I just happened to be here in this general area. I went to somewhere else to get something else done that got delayed, and then I saw it. Yeah, live in 420. That blows. I don't know what the hell is going on there. Okay. That's fine. We'll do it. Like I said, we'll just go ahead and then anybody else that wants to chip in for Spinal Tap, we'll get that done. They say don't go 1080 on a live stream. I have the capability to go 1080, but they say I forgot who told me this. They said not to do that. So they said 720 is where you should be at for optimum for people who are streaming, and it just comes over the best way. I'm open to any advice because whatever makes me look good. Good evening, William Chad. How you doing, Hank? What's going on? Cristiano, nice to see you. First time I remember you being here, so welcome to the to chat. Oh, and Hank Neezy's been a member for 9 months. Thank you for hanging on that long. No, Long Walk is okay. I'll give you a really quick review. I had no plans on seeing a Long Walk. I mean, it's just Stephen King movie. I like Stephen King, but not all of his movies are hit with me. We saw the first 20 some odd minutes of it at Comic-Con, along with Mark Hamill being there in person, and all the actors were there. And at that point, after I was done with that preview, I wanted to go see it. Saw it. It's intense. It's a bit gruesome. Um, the biggest thing about The Long Walk is the camaraderie that's built along this walk and the different points of view that are expressed throughout. All these people are trying to escape. It's a post-apocalyptic thing anyway. It's everybody's in a shit circumstance. However, it is you get everybody's story, and then as people start to thin out, it gets a little bit gory, it gets a little bit violent, and the ending they did some things, they changed some things from the book. I haven't read the book in quite a while, and then I read it. In fact, I did an audiobook if I can remember right. Um, and yeah, there's a big difference. You'll know it when you watch it. Okay, let's see. Never crossed the streams. Yeah, Ghostbusters reference. All right, let's see. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel when you're in San Diego Comic Con. I enjoy. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you enjoyed our. Oh yeah, Ray, I keep forgetting when Ray is in the chat to reference Ray. Ray was right beside me during that. In fact, Ray has been with me our last two Hall H's. That 2021 4 one was epic. And I think that kind of hurt my Comic Con for 2025 because that 2024 Comic Con for me was the best I've been to since I've been going to Comic Con, and then to come back 2025, kind of like weird. Yeah, he did, and like I said, I wasn't expecting him to be there, and then when I heard him, out of the two, hey, people love me. Fourth, 265, by the way, people love me. Let's see. There's a Stephen King-like character who's a writer. Yeah. I think he puts a lot of those into every movie that he does. Yeah. I'm not campy. I'm not making that kind of money. Yeah, we're at 282. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I had to think long and hard about it. Like when I was with Rhea there, I remember texting her saying, I don't know, I was ready to go on day 3 in the middle of a Saturday, which is the most electrifying day of the con. But I made the decision that I am going to find a way to make 2026 better. I'm also going to be going to WonderCon. I will be going to WonderCon in April, and I will be bringing the Sci-Fi Center's presents with me. Hopefully, Ray will be there. Hopefully, Brad will finally get to come out here and be part of these things. But yep, I will be there. All right, so I am going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and start out with Tupac. I'm going to go ahead and start out with Tupac, and I'm going to go ahead and bring a fairly decent picture up. Like I said, my appreciation for both him and Biggie come, unfortunately, for the most part, after they passed. They have literally, both men have been gone longer than they were on the planet, so that's natural. And I think the difference between the two, I would consider, and like I said, you guys know I am the alternative music heavy metal dude, but I am open to anything. I will listen to anything. We've thrown some country out there. I am I'm open to anything, and I was definitely open to what they were doing like at the time, because a lot of his music was coming in right as the post grunge era was coming through. He hadn't even hit his prime yet. He hadn't even hit you know the zenith of his career. To be honest with you, neither of them did. To be honest with you, because I can't believe that at 24 and 25, respectively, that either of these gentlemen had given you their best of anything. I think they both had a lot more music to make, obviously at that age. Like I expressed last week, I will never forget being at it wasn't Fort Irwin, it was the Air Force Base Range. We were on the Air Force Base Range out in the middle of the desert. We were listening and trying to get a good signal, because out in the range you can't get shit. Out in the range we couldn't get anything. and we were trying to listen to the results of the Seldon fight, the Tyson Seldon fight. And when we finally got a signal, um, this is what we heard, that Tupac had gotten shot. We actually heard that before we were able to get the results of the fight. We thought we were on the wrong. Me and my platoon mates were in a tent. We're out on the range, and they say we took us forever to get that signal. We got that signal, and that's the first thing we heard. It was my birthday. I'm like, happy birthday to me. We had made a joke the last three ranges had been on my birthday, which sucked because that was the first week. And then I'm listening, Tyson, he'd gotten out of prison. I mean, Tyson was super huge. Every Tyson fight, it didn't matter who he was fighting. I mean, I remember Bruce Seldon because of what happened here. And we got the news he'd been shot. And I remember talking to our buddies. I'm like, okay, Tupac got shot. He'd been shot before. Tough dude. Tough environment. They didn't say shot and killed. They said shot in critical condition. We would listen later on, shot in stable condition. And then as time went on, thought he was going to live. I legitimately thought, he was going to live. And on today, 29 years ago today, I remember it because I have a pager. I'm going to show you how old I am. I had a pager. And I had one of those big pagers that gave you the text going across back when everybody else still had to you had to type in the numbers. This one actually gave you the news, and you could subscribe to news services. So you would get the breaking news. And that was one of the first texts I got with that pager, because this was in 1995, 1996. We didn't have what we had now. And that was one of the first things. Tupac Shakur, dead at 25. And then I hear later on, I saw articles and stuff. I was studying up on it. They had lost him like 4 or 5 times. And apparently his mother said, if we won again, do not resuscitate. So yeah, 25 years. If there's any rapper that I've heard, everybody is going to have a different opinion, that was a poet. I mean, all rap is rhyming, but there's a difference between, in my opinion, an outright poet. Like I said last week, I think if he'd have lived, along with blowing up and being even more successful than he was, he would be in a college campus somewhere, possibly SC or somewhere, teaching poetic dynamics, teaching poetry, not rap, outright poetry, and how you would apply it to rap, or how he applied it to rap. Because this guy was, if you listen to the lyrics and a lot of his stuff, the structure was like, it was like smooth poetry. And I don't think he was anywhere near the skill level that he would have reached had he to live. If you look at rappers and any musician that are 25 years old, and lived on to be 30s, 40s, 50s, look how they progressed from age 25 on. Along with some of the stuff that's happened in the world since he passed. Could you imagine how he would be addressing what we're going through politically today? Could you imagine how his lyrics would have been applied to like September 11th, the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, George Floyd? I often think when we have these moments like that, especially when it comes to racial strife and things, sensitive things that a lot of people just go to their corners and don't talk about. He was literally made a living out of talking about those. It would have been, it would have been something else to see or to hear and see how he progressed, and wonder what Tupac would say. Because, like I said, I think that a lot of people look at rappers, got the stereotype, think people just because you're rapping, you don't have the talent, you're not articulate. It's probably one of the most articulate people I've ever heard, both rapping and spoken. To hear him talk in a few interviews, I mean, that he had. I mean, one of the ones like I remember watching. I think it was when he was with Digital Underground. This scope of what he was talking about goes beyond the lyrics that he was rapping to. The meaning, of what he was talking about, and like Biggie, he wasn't. He was illustrating from his point of view onto the lyrics. There was no middle ground. What he was rapping about, he was living about. He wasn't. And I'm not saying other rappers are phony. I'm not in that game, but you look at his history and his brief time on this planet, from his upbringing, his mother, black. I mean, every word that came out of his mouth was legitimate. He was literally giving you a window into a place that most people just wouldn't venture to. And there's a song. I don't know who put this together. "Living to Die." It's both. It's a real brief song with him and Biggie on the same track. I think Eminem put it together. I could be 100% wrong, but I'm going to put that in the chat. And if there's any song that I think embodies the both of them at the same time, since we went back to back, and with Biggie last week and him this week, and like I said, this week was poignant because of the fact that it's, like I said, 29 years since them, and it's almost like I said, I don't know if folklore is a word because he's not Bigfoot or anything, but larger than life. I would put I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna mute myself here so I can hold on. Every genre has that one person that transcends living or dead. For rock and roll, it's guys like Hendrix, Elvis, Jim Morrison, people that in some case, if you were born on the day Tupac was shot, well, if you're born on my birthday, you're 30. You're hitting 30 next year. You're going into a decent age without ever being on the same planet as him. But you know who he is. You know who he is. Even if you didn't hear his song, he's one of those figures now that's frozen in time, immortalized in death, unfortunately. But it's every time I see him or any of these guys that were cut down, at 24 and 25 respectively, I just keep asking myself every time we have one of these situations. We've had a rough week. We've seen what we've been going through this week. We had a school shooting and we had another shooting with a popular figure. These are the times where a voice like that, and you might not, it might not be sugarcoated either. In fact, I can guarantee you, if he was here today rapping about the stuff that we're all living through, it wouldn't be sugarcoated, and that would probably be for the best. So the world lost a loud voice on September 13th, 1996. 1996. Next year it'll be 30th anniversary of his passing. And then next year after that, it'll be 30th anniversary of Biggie Smalls. And after that, after those two men, it seemed like the nonsense kind of went back, receded. I just wish that, back in that time, all these millionaires could look at each other and be like, man, we're piling up money. What are we doing? So that's how I feel about Tupac. Like I said, this is coming from a person who predominantly, I grew up listening to certain types of music, but I listen to anything, and he was one of that anything. If you watch this show for any length of time, you understand where my musical taste goes. We did Body Count on this show. We did Ice-T's metal band. We've done Megadeth on this show. We'll be doing NWA pretty soon, because that's a huge thing. And all of these musical types, even if they're not the same genre, trust and believe, somebody listening to speed metal and playing speed metal somewhere, listen to a Tupac track. They may not have emulated the type of music and the rhythm, obviously, but the lyrics, where they were coming from. There's rhythm in everything. There's rhythm. There's enough rhythm, enough consistent rhythm in everything to where these musical tastes influence each other regardless of genre. Listen to country music now. There's a lot of country folks doing some type of hybrid or rap. It goes in cycles. And I can't believe that artists like Tupac, Biggie, NWA, all these guys now that are in their 25, 30, 35, 40 years old were not influenced by this guy. But once again, a larger than life piece of pop culture living and breathing at the time. And now he lives on in a lot of different memories. Not only the music, but literally as a being frozen in time that's still, in my opinion, influencing people today. Lloyd Kaufman, head of Choma. We do a lot of stuff with Choma. When we brought Lloyd Kaufman out here into Vegas for Tromania, Lloyd Kaufman was wearing a Tupac hoodie. And he wasn't just one of those guys that, wears the band, concert because it looks cool. He could have a conversation with you about Tupac. 80-year-old Lloyd Kaufman could have a conversation and an appreciation. So there you go. Rest in peace. Continue to rest in peace, Tupac Shakur. All right. All right. King in the first round. Yeah. Until certain fighters he didn't do. So let's see. Hi, Chuck. How you doing? I'm assuring there will be more bad jokes coming. Let's see. Clint, you're older than me, so whatever I was banging together, you were the precursor to that. Okay, why is the raid in my chat? What's going on? Danny Martin, Tupac and Biggie felt like men in their mid-30s opposed to 24, 25. They lived a lot. Yeah, and that's one of the things I wanted to express is these people that have their lives shortened by that much. You look back on them and you would think that they were around for decades, and they were not. They were really young people. Yeah, Tupac is a huge loss. Like I said, and like I just explained to you, just talking about some of the things that are going on today, you wonder, there are a certain handful of people I'm wondering what would this person have to say about this? What kind of clarity could this person? What kind of musical calming effect could that person have? And you always think, like I said, especially in the 29 years since he's gone, look at the shit that's gone down. Look at the stuff that's gone down. That's a lot of songs to be made out of that. Eminem's another one I really especially he came out in the late 90s. Eminem came from that influence. Eminem was came out with Dre. I mean, he I still to this day, and once again, he is speaking from his point of view that he has lived, and it just seems so authentic. So listen to his first album. There's so much, and there was his first album. A lot of people consider that to be his best. I think he would have retired while he's on top before the new millennium. I can't see him post rap and rock Eminem. I think because those guys are around, I would think he would think of himself as a needed voice. That's just my opinion. But it's conjecture. We would never know. Yeah, Tupac's the Black President. I thought of that today when I was going over some of my notes. I no shit. I think Tupac would have been at President Obama's inauguration. I think Tupac would have campaigned for him, and he wasn't a political. I mean, he wasn't a political guy in that respect, but what Barack Obama represented to us at that time was or anybody at any time was monumental, and to see something he sung about, rapped about, come to fruition, because he wasn't always rapping about depressing stuff. He was rapping about a vision, and a black president was literally one of those visions. How you doing, Music Man? Tupac didn't become a rapper to become trendy. He once said, "I'm happy you got a loud motorcycle." Um, he once said, "I'll keep talking about the garbage in this world loud enough and long enough. Somebody's eventually going to come up and clean it up. Yep, or make it better." Tupac was legendary. Rap was way better in the late '80s and to the early 2000s. I think the '90s for hip hop and rap in general was huge. It was huge. I mean, I'm biased obviously because the '90s was my era for really growth in musical taste. But I think because you've come from what Run DMC and BC Boys and all those acts were doing by bringing it to the surface and bringing it to pop culture and bringing it to the general audience, it was like they lit the fuse during that era, and then come the '90s, it just blew up, and you had more ways to see it. You had more ways to see it, and then when we get into the 2000s, you have the internet. You have all these ways that back in when BC Boys and Run DMC were coming out, BC Boys, Walk This Way. We covered that. Walk This Way was for a lot of people the first time white people listened to anything from Run DMC. Walk This Way was the first time that black people even heard of Aerosmith. Not just listened to a song, even heard of Aerosmith. That one song brought Aerosmith back because they had been broken up. They came back. They were having moderate success. That created an entirely new career for Aerosmith. They went on, in my opinion, to do some of their best stuff after Walk This Way. And Walk This Way brought two communities together. And then that fostered a lot of things that happened in the 90s and then so on. So I think the 90s were everything kept together, or came together. I'm sorry. How are you, Music Man? What's going on? Yes, Tupac was an actor as well. Tupac was an actor. He did a couple of films. I think he would have gone into. I think he would have gone into acting, but I don't think he would have given up rapping entirely because I think judging from what I would listen to him and how he talked, he he seemed like a needed voice at needed times. So, and I think the times would dictate whether you retired or not. But once again, I am purely guessing on that, and we'll never know, unfortunately. All right, Kendrick is supposed to be a type of figure. Big pimpin'. All right. Yeah, I mean, I have a picture of it. I'll bring it up. It's in my phone with him wearing that T-shirt. I'm like, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that hoodie from, Lloyd? And he told me straight up. Let's see. Yeah, he does. I mean, that guy's very cultured. How you doing, Chappie? I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes. All right. All right. So now I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and bring in Jared here. Copy, blog, Instagram. Let's see. Yeah, good old Tupac. Don't know what the musical topic will be next time around, but there you go. Let's see. All right, and all right. So the next topic is going to be Wonder Woman. Why I think Absolute Wonder Woman is the most complete version of Wonder Woman out there. So I'm going to be right back. I got a co-host coming in. Be right back, guys. Oh, well, there we go. Jared is already here.
Hello.
That was. What's up?
How you doing?
All right, I'm doing all right. Be right back. I'm gonna go grab my stack that I didn't have enough room up here for.
Okay. Hello,
Including-
everyone. I
Including
heard.
the latest Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I know. How you doing, everyone? I heard Absolute Wonder Woman, and I'm like Beetlejuice. You say Absolute Wonder Woman 3 times, I appear. So yeah, got my trade. I got my single issues in here. This is single-handedly, I would say, probably the best book that DC is putting out right now. Like, by far, this is the book, because for some reason, the way Kelly Thompson does this, which is the biggest, hey, what's up, Hal Jordan? Which is the biggest surprise for me when I was reading this, is this still feels like Wonder Woman. That is the wild part. Diana raised in hell in another like universe. It's like, wow. And it's the idea that like, plus when you look at like, because when the design was like announced, hey, what's up, Aaron? It was like kind of like floated that she looked like Kratos, like there's gonna be, oh great, God of War Wonder Woman, where she's just a warrior and wants to murder people. However, I think with this, it is like God of War for sure, but it's more of the scale and the sort of air quote boss battles, not necessarily like evilness. And he's got his stack back.
Yep. I'm sold out of my trade paperback.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I didn't get the hardcover. All right, guys. When it comes to 293 of you watching right now, please like, subscribe right under me to youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center. If you were watching us on Twitter, which the vast majority of you, 278 of you, are watching on YouTube, which is great. Usually it's the other way around.
My stack.
Oh wow, yours. Well, mine is bigger than yours, but I didn't want to struggle it, over there.
Size matters not.
One of the starting points when it comes to Absolute Wonder Woman and why I think it is the most complete. All due respect to George Perez.
Yeah.
But it's a difference between being the best and being the most complete and being the most sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
The covers.
Oh yes. Oh,
the covers on these. Let me go here real quick and maximize myself. The covers of Absolute Wonder Woman are the best of all of Absolute DC.
Yep.
Some of the best in DC, period. Right behind them is Batman. Batman's covers are frightening. But these covers, they're exotic. They're the usage of just the basic colors, red predominantly, that over-exaggerated sword. These artists love that damn sword. Mm-hmm. Here's one right here. Here's a variant. Here's a variant of number 10. And what you're going to find in this universe, her color scheme is reds, blacks, and silvers because it's a Dark Side universe. Mm-hmm. This cover right here is beautiful.
Yeah, I love
every cover up there. The most boring cover, to be honest with you, was issue number 1.
Mm-hmm.
We're riding her Pegasus. This is the A cover.
Mm-hmm.
The A cover is it's a cool cover.
It's still nice.
It's not it's not like one of these. Like this one right here, once again, predominantly red.
Yes.
This was the lasso, and this was a story that had something to do with the lasso. Most of her covers are non-representative covers. This one's a representative cover because it's the origin story of the lasso in her universe, which came from Prometheus and a whole bunch of other things. So, love that cover. This is once again, now it's a boring cover, the one I just showed you before, right?
Oh wow!
It's a foil version variant.
That looks nice.
Yeah, so that one's a nice cover. It points out, but like I said, the most boring cover that they've ever done, but they made it cool. They made it pop with silver. It's ones like this, white background, once again predominantly red. Look at that sword; it seems to change size to whatever the hell they want it to be, and her slaughtering. The video game, this is her slot. It's like kaiju. Most of the time, she's fighting. She's always fighting some big demonic thing, and overpowering it. This is one of my favorites right here. This is number 11. This is the latest right here. This is one of my favorites. Once again, they will never miss an opportunity to use that sword in the background. It's like I said, like those video game cosplay swords you see. This is a painted. Looks like a painted cover. and this is also a number 11. Now, this is the A cover.
Mm-hmm.
The A covers are usually less exotic, and they rely more on the red than any of the other covers. The A cover always is a red cover. The artwork inside of here. See, this is a normal artist. Yeah, so I come from the old 80s days where they would do page breakdowns like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the big giant, sections like this. The art is muted. The colors are muted because that's the way this universe rolls with her.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times she's the only thing in color. Now, not only do I like the art, the mythology. So number
Yes.
2 is the mythology.
Yep.
We're fighting Minotaurs. We're fighting Zeus. Yeah.
Because that's a lot of what Wonder Woman is. You can't leave out the Greek mythology stuff in this character. You really just can't.
Yeah, it's like she's Prometheus giving her part of part of him to make the sword. Circe, the Amazonians and the Greek gods. There's a lot in there, and to be honest with you, Wonder Woman kind of started with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at her, history,
mm-hmm.
but somewhere along the line over the 80 years, we've gotten away from that. We've gotten into some other things. I'm not going to say too superhero-y because she's a superhero, but her strength and her powers come from the fact that she's literally a goddess. That she literally, where she derives her powers, has been lost. So what they've done, what Thompson and them have done here, has not as much made a drastic change in the character. They basically reattached her to her roots in a much more dramatic way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's nothing else. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's the mythology and there's nothing else. Now, in issue 15, ironically, and we got a glimpse of this at Comic-Con, issue 15 is where we get the first crossover between any absolute character. Issue 15, she will align herself with Batman, absolute Batman. So, what's up?
I would say so, yeah. And I mean, Batman's an interesting choice to cross up. I guess it's because they are the two top characters of this universe so far. So I guess that only makes somewhat sense.
Yeah, and I guess from what he was saying at Comic-Con, because oops, hold on. What was that? Oh, okay. Oh, that's Hot 702. By the way, I'm going to put her in there again. There you go. For those of you who are watching that weren't on before, when Icarice from Hot 702 was in here, go sign up, start listening to her. She's local, black-owned business here. Looks like myself in Las Vegas. There's not a lot of us. So, yeah, please support. Yeah, that sport's massive. Yeah, and like I said, I've seen cosplays. I saw cosplay at Comic-Con.
Yeah. The cosplays have started, brother.
Let's see. As a DC guy, I'm a DC guy, more than Marvel. I think these characters in DC universe are more. I've always thought that way because I grew up in an era of Alan Moore and Frank Miller dominating the pages in the 80s. And, when Frank Miller, when he was doing Daredevil, that was running, the titles I gravitated toward. But The Dark Knight Returns, what came earlier on, into my collecting career, and DC's characters are always. And here's the one thing about Absolute Wonder Woman. When you look at DC's characters, especially Superman and Wonder Woman, they have always been godlike characters.
Yep.
This is the first time in a long time, in my opinion. There have been godlike stories with her in the last 10, 15 years, but she's a god amongst gods in this particular strain of story.
Yeah, it's because it's like one of the things, like even the current run, which I'm the biggest fan of the current run of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I know, Tom. You have Tom King tattooed across your belly.
Yeah, I know. But the problem with that is that when he came on Wonder Woman, he legit said, I'm not going to touch the gods. I'm not touching the Wonder Girls. And I go, you're leaving out the parts of Wonder Woman that give her world color. And then along came this. And it's like, no, I'm weighing in. I'm like leaning into the godlike portion of Wonder Woman. I mean, half the images feel like they're from a painting out of Greek mythology in here.
And yeah, they look, or they're on walls. Some of this artwork here looks like the cave dwelling art, and it's like you're reading a tale off of a cave. The story, I like her characterization.
Like that image right here.
Yeah,
that
and you
the
notice,
poster of a game.
If you notice, it's split panel and then open panel.
Yeah.
Split panel and open panel. That's the way they used to do it back in the day. But they minimized it because you needed more pages to tell that story, they thought. And people have been doing it with just a regular 22, 32 pages. I like the fact that even though this energy is built by Darkseid, who is, for all intents and purposes, a god in his own right, that she still maintains, these characters are still maintained their heroic stature. Like her, she's growing up in hell. She's been abandoned there and sentenced there. And there's, but she still wants to help save mankind. She still wants to be a champion of mankind. So that aspect of Absolute Wonder Woman is still there, but it's just wrapped in a layered and just exotic artwork that makes it look like you're reading something. The only thing I need out from here is like a Boris Vallejo or Frank Kelly type covers.
Yep.
Only like painted covers for these, like the ones that they used to do with Savage Tales and like the Warren stuff, like the Vampirella.
Bro, an Alex Ross cover in this.
Yeah, I got to believe that that's coming. But that's all this book is reading. It's my second favorite of the Absolute books after Absolute Batman, and then Superman. But it's all starting to come together, though. That's what I like about it. And
of the three, I think that this one is the best paced. At least it seems like it's in terms of Absolute Wonder Woman. It really feels like they're actually advancing the plot fast enough. Like Superman is kind of taking forever. I don't know what the hell is going on with Martian Manhunter. The other books are like okay, but it's like this one is the one. Yeah, besides Batman, that I think is the best put together and best executed of the group. Because here's the thing, I say this on my show all the time. This should not work. Like Wonder Woman Raising Hell, that should break the character. But Kelly Thompson somehow has found a way to make this work. And I'm like...
The hate storyline, when she had to explain where she got her stuff from, that to me was more... That was less of what I was always expecting from Wonder Woman, and what I would expect in something that a fantasy magazine, heavy metal. That's what that reminded. I don't know why I couldn't. Hold on, I don't know why I couldn't put my head on that a lot sooner than this.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's.
And I'm looking right at it. So when we look at heavy metal. And some of the stories that are in heavy metal, these characters are sexy and all that, and they're not wearing, but they're not. I mean, there's some heart. This is Frazetta. Oh my God, if Frazetta were still here.
Frazetta did Absolute Wonder Woman. Oh my God, dude.
That would be a 311 of you. Please, thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe, and join us if you like the kind of conversation we're having. Join us. Say hi in the chat if you're brand new. If you're not if not a regular, don't be shy. Hey, what's going on? But look at this. Look around. Hey, no problem. I'm here till midnight, so you gotta take your time. That's heavy metal, and to me, that's. I don't know why it took me so long to put my finger on. The stories that are in here remind me of heavy metal anthology stories.
And yes, Joga, this Wonder Woman is an amputee. Because what happened in this universe is so Steve Trevor shows up in hell.
Are we spoiling it? Well, go ahead.
Yeah, to save him, Wonder Woman. So essentially, Wonder Woman discovers that the spell to send someone from hell requires a great sacrifice. So she cuts off her own arm and thus she makes that as the sacrifice. So what you discover is, so she has like a small amputated arm, a small like prosthetic, like Anakin Skywalker arm that she like uses, but later she needs her power back to fight this massive creature. So she executes a spell where she takes blood from Etta Steve and
I had it up on my big
Edda's
giant.
sister. I forget
No,
Edda's sister's
then I
name.
damn near died in 2014.
Covers her with blood,
That
herself with blood, and then it turns out the arm.
No,
the arm
I
that she has there with the tattoo, that's actually a magic arm. So that essentially helps amplify her power. So she does that, and that's kind of where the how the arm
what he did as the
factors into Absolute Wonder Woman, and that's also one of the coolest things. Here's the thing:
choked, man.
This version of Wonder Woman acts like Wonder Woman because that is 110% the type of sacrifice, if you will, that Wonder Woman would do.
Now I got this other dude.
Another person.
Bringing back Corey Perry.
And he's already injured.
Yeah, which means we have hope.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, fellow Kings fan walked in.
No, it's so
but yeah, this heavy metal, like I said, this is the most heavy metal comic book, superhero comic book. I don't know why it took me that long. I'm looking at heavy metal right now, and I'm looking at this cover. I'm like, that's it. Because yeah, Frank Rosetta, if I could bring him back, like, dude, can you do this from heaven? Just here, draw me a comic. But there are a lot of fantasy artwork. That's what I would like to see is one of these covers be a fantasy art one. They almost are to begin with, but I would like this one to be one of them to be a fantasy art. How are you doing, Protest? Not long time to see. A whole arm. Oh, okay, yeah, you explained that. Yeah, she sacrifices her arm for this stranger that washes up on hell, finds his way to hell, which is a story in itself.
Yeah.
Gives up because she has to give in order. Yeah, the whole spell she had to do to give up her arm. And they don't even.
But it's just even with that, the gods play a heavy role in this, and you see like all the god designs and the god design. Here's the other part that's like really incredible about this series: the coloring by Jordi Belair, because the coloring. When you see Wonder Woman, like, because as you said before, red is a big color in this, but oh my God, sometimes it looks like the page is literally glowing, glowing.
Well, look at the cover, the lasso cover alone. There's nothing else going on the lasso cover of any of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing going on. This may as well be a glow-in-the-dark cover.
Yeah,
if you look closely,
they do that.
Her face is behind all that.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the few variant covers. This was a variant cover, right? Yeah. This was not.
I think was that the main cover? I thought it was.
No, this is the A cover.
That's the A cover. I thought. That was the main cover.
This was one. This is so simplistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's the variants that don't, the variants that do their own thing, regardless of what the story. But yeah, this is the A cover, and it's about the lasso, and that it's a simple story about the lasso. The design of the gods in here is absolutely crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I was
it's because what Kelly said is that she read to prep for this the Wonder Woman Historia book, which was basically about the history of the Amazons, and a lot of the god designs are inspired by that particular book in and of itself. So that's kind of where you're getting a ton of the heavy inspiration. The other thing that I really dig about this is the sense of scale, because when Wonder Woman is fighting a giant monster, it feels like the monster's actually giant.
And that's where those big open pages help. Because that first monster she fought literally was the whole page. It had to illustrate the whole page for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this one right here, like I said, it's approaching this as far as the best done.
Yeah.
This is the best complete Wonder Woman story, but we're in the middle of an ongoing series, so it's getting here.
The other thing is to fight this other creature. You know what she does? She literally turns herself into Medusa. So I'm like, look at this, and this is exactly what William is saying, because you have like the giant creature on the one panel. Just look at that. That's again, Sherman and like the entire art team on this really gets the sense of scale, because with a story like this that's going full on into like mythology, if you will, you really want to be these creatures to feel ginormous. And luckily, there's not a single time reading this series that I don't feel like I'm reading some like epic Lord of the Rings style action scene
for the fighter.
For like in any way. Like everything feels like it has the proper scale and feeling as like a Wonder Woman story would.
I was in
And
Hawthorne.
that's why, in many ways, because the Wonder Woman fandom overall doesn't like the King run for obvious reasons.
And once he got switched to.
But the thing with the Absolute Wonder Woman series is that it feels like Wonder Woman. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, it's LA. We just don't.
That's the best part of it.
You know, I say I'm from LA. Nobody really wants to. I don't know. All right, man. Have a good time here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all good.
The reality of being right in the middle of an open store is kind of stark sometimes. Yeah, I really enjoy this title. I look forward to it. I cannot believe it's been a year already.
I know, right?
Been a year already, and I think Brad fell asleep. Brad, listen,
did.
If you're not 80 years old, your body chemistry should not allow you to fall asleep on a Saturday night. Fuck. Anyway, I grew up with Neil Adams. Love for him. Yeah, Neil Adams was part of it. Neil Adams was part of the resurrection of Batman for me. It was when he began what I consider to be the real rehabilitation of Batman. Frank Miller sealed the deal. Neil Adams, the stories that were going on, them also the later on in 87, 88 with Jim Starlin. Jim Starlin, you never hear enough about Jim Starlin's run on Batman. I think Jim Starlin's run on Batman is some of the most. When you think of Jim Starlin, you think of Thanos, Adam Warlock, Pip, Gamora, his run on Silver Surfer with Ron Lim that bought Thanos back. You think of all those galactical type characters. You don't think of Batman, and he has a very underrated run on Batman that lasted, I think, a year or so. So Jim Starlin was up there, but yeah, that was a good run with Neil Adams. But like I said, it was The Dark Knight Returns, and then with what Alan Moore did with Killing Joke, and when they killed off Robin, which I helped do. Those are the things that let everybody in the room know this is no kid shit anymore. This is taking Batman where we think Bob Kane would have taken him if the comics code and people wouldn't got wussified, and so that I love that cover. That's a Frazetta. Anything I can get Frazetta wise, oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I mean, when you got Eerie magazine, so I got a lot of stuff like this in the store. Here is another, I believe this is another Frazetta cover, if I'm not wrong. But Frazetta is all over. Covers like this I love. I have these magazines pinned to the wall. That's why I just bought this over. But yeah, I would love to see Wonder Woman get some of these painted covers. Like there's a Kelly Jones. There's a Kelly Jones or Jones right there. And these are all covers that are in there. I love picking up these books when people bring them in, but not enough people bring them in. But yeah, that heavy metal cover is one of my favorite. I need to start wearing a camera on my head.
Yeah, that's what you should do. That'd be fun.
Hilarious. But like I said, here's probably one of the most famous Frazetta ones that he did, and it ended up being it's the girl on the King Kong.
Oh, cool!
It's actually just premiered. This is in Erie. They're reprinting these covers and these stories now. Now that Warren has been bought, I think Dynamite is doing these stories now. So Vamps is Vampirella and so on. They just changed the names and the spelling. But yeah, like I said, I've sold a lot of them now because I sold them faster than I can get them. And now I got huge patches on my wall that are there. All right, let's see. All right, well that is my Wonder Woman. Why I think Wonder Woman is the most complete Wonder Woman series out there. Like I said, we can go back and forth about different runs and things like that. The Perez run, and I know Jared is in love with Tom King. I don't have a bigger champion that I can run to when it comes to Tom King's run on Wonder Woman than Jared. But Killing Joke is not overrated.
It's not overrated. Sorry.
It's fourth. I should have looked at the name. Troll 1000 is always going to be there to pass it out. So, all right, man. Let me. What else do we got on my thumbnail here? Let me bring this up real quick. I think we covered Tupac extensively, more than I thought. Here's a Brad. Brad looks like he's coming on here pretty soon to.
All right, so real quick, I read the recent Absolute Batman. What the way they give the origin for the other villains?
It's heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, it's like I'm like, what the hell? It's so good.
Okay, so on that note, listen, the way that they have, we got Warner Brothers Paramount. Oh my God, the way they have brought Bane into this story
so good.
is far superior to that bullshit that they brought in Nightfall.
I kind of agree.
The build up to the whatever flannel confrontation that he and Bruce Wayne have has been superbly handled in a way that I would feel differently about Bane if that had been handled this way.
You really don't like Bane, huh?
I don't like the character. I don't like the way the character was brought in. I don't like pulling characters out of your ass just to challenge our superheroes. When you have, by the time that story came out, I had 60 years of history of much more lethal villains than Bane could ever be. Where's Ross? I mean, you're tired of the Joker, but I mean, there's nothing that Bane could have done. That there's a lot. It's the writer. It's not the villain all the time. It's the writer. You can take a lame villain and write a masterpiece of a story. You could take a pre-existing villain that you already have, which Batman and Superman both already have, and if you're writing it, if your aim is to make this the end all be all, you write that into that character. You don't need to create. And like I said, it just comes from an era, in my opinion, where they just wanted headlines. They just wanted headlines. And I'm not saying they're poorly written stories. I just didn't like the concept. I didn't need a Doomsday. Where's Brainiac? Brainiac has always, in my opinion, Brainiac and Darkseid have always posed the most lethal threat on not just the Superman, but our entire world. I didn't need Doomsday.
Yeah.
I didn't need Bane at that time. And I definitely didn't need him being brought in how they brought him. Batman, Ra's al Ghul, during that same era, poisons half the damn city.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm just, like I said, I know I'm in the minority. I know people just, Bane, and, but now I trusted Scott Snyder.
Yep. And I got news for you, dude. There's going to be more Bane fans because of this. Rightly so, though.
Yes, but see, they're going to get a glimpse of, they're going to get something, Mr. Freeze is fucked up too, but Bane cover. Oh, shit, did we sell that? Because that one cover, I'll be right back. Because there's one cover that just sold it for me.
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not going to spoil what Bane does to everyone, but he messes people up. And it is one of those things that when I was looking at this, when I was covering this, I'm like, oh, wow. It's one of those things where I kept saying, wow, that is very it feels like it should be a Black Label book at this point.
What's that?
Yeah.
I think that was bantied about, but I think they decided to go with this universe. Because this is the only thing that's not this doesn't have that Black Label has is the explicit stuff, some of the sexier stuff. Because Wonder Woman is not a sex symbol in here. There's no type of Batman and Catwoman. Remember Batman the Damned? They had to censor that because of his dick. All right, these two covers right here. This is Absolute number 9 and Absolute number 11. I actually got to read this one ahead of time. Scott Snyder sent us a copy of this, so we were able to read it and review it. That's Batman's feet hanging. These are A covers, by the way. These are him sitting there like that, and this one right here, where, like I said, the way they have presented this character in this version of it is I can buy it. He's sadistic like he is in his normal, but he's way more. He's dealing with a different Bruce Wayne. And here's the thing: it's not some all-powerful thing that can break the Batman because he doesn't do that. It's Bruce's inexperience versus anything. Like there's one. This issue right here is told completely from the perspective of bullshit because none of it really happens. It's what Alfred thinks is happening to him,
which was crazy, bro.
Yeah, but once he started begging, I'm like, okay. When he started saying, "Please don't hurt," I'm like, okay, this is Alfred's fear for what's happening to him because this Bruce Wayne, he's not backing down for better or for worse. He don't back down from shit. He's huge. Bane is like 10 feet tall. And he's still now. What he does to Riddler is heartbreaking. What he did to Killer Croc is heartbreaking. What he did to Two-Face. These are all, and they made sure that they showed you enough of these individuals as close inner circle of Bruce Wayne instead of just random villains that just random villain of the week, right? They make sure that Killer Croc was like, he's like, I want you to kill me. Type of situation. He's like, no, I can't. And I should have left you back there at Arkham because he rescues him from Arkham. But he's one of his closest allies leading up to that point. So to see his friends turned into these things, he's going to beat the shit out of Bane. And it's going to be earned. It's going to be earned, not just because, I broke in and I figured out I'm so smart. I figured out your secret identity and I released all these criminals so that you would be tired and you wouldn't be able to fight. Whatever. What he does here, I never really hated Bane or never really felt compelled by Bane in the normal universe. I just wanted him off my page. But here I'm compelled. I want Batman to beat the fuck out of this guy.
Oh, it's going to be sweet, bro.
I want Batman. I want absolute Batman to take him from cover to cover, beating his ass. Because by the time you got to Batman and Bane's rematch, fucking Azrael already took the steam out of a lot of that.
Yeah, I know.
And that whole thing with him being there, that whole the night, all that the whole story along with him was just, I just didn't, I just wasn't a fan, and it just keeps getting referred to. Here we are, we're making Batman movies like 2 or 3 years after the character's creation, and here you got a Bane and a horrible Batman movie. And then we have a Bane and another, people are going to hate me for this, I don't like The Dark Knight Rises. I love Tom Hardy.
I don't like Dark Knight Rises too, bro. I'm with you there. It's too freaking long.
Yeah. If now Bane itself may not be the worst character ever, but once again, you take a guy like Scott Snyder with a different vision. But I would pose that case back in 1992, 93, 94. You could have gone a direction that could have made him compelling, and they didn't. Somebody else did, damn near 30 years later. He's a piece of shit in here. He is an absolute piece of dog shit. He's like Lonzo in Training Day. I'm like, dude, you have to die at the end of this movie. You have to die at the end of this movie. I cannot
be the one character where I'm like, Batman, violate your no kill rule, murder this SOB.
This Bane here, the Bane in the 90s. I'm like, okay, are we done here? This Bane, I'm like, don't rob me of this battle. That needs to be a wordless battle. I don't need one word bubble from anything in here. All I need is ass whipping. Ass whipping for what he did to Killer Croc. Ass whipping for what he did to Enigma. Ass whipping for what he did to Harvey Dent. And he does it all in one success. He fucks these people up. He really messes these people up. Now
the question is, you think he's going to try and do anything to Catwoman?
Yeah, but I think that's where he's going to get, where Bruce is going to
That's where I was about to say, because if he tries to touch Catwoman, that's when Bruce says, okay, it's on, bitch.
Well, because she's the last remaining of his childhood friends that he hasn't fucked up. And he's a love interest, they were buying the house together. So yeah, I will text, hey, Scott Snyder, man, he doesn't get dragged off by the police. Don't give me an absolute Azrael to come steal the thunder before the climax of your big story. No, It needs to be absolute Batman literally beating the tar out of this Bane. They have done such an excellent job with this iteration that it can only end with absolute Bane in a wheelchair. Like when Bullseye, they made you hate Bullseye, and when he killed Elektra, you're like, you son of a bitch. And guess what? Daredevil fucked him up. Daredevil beat the hell out of him.
I bet you that in the confrontation, Batman's gonna take out that axe of his and go, "Okay, so which part am I cutting off?"
Dismember him. He doesn't. Hey, no kill rule.
No kill rule.
No kill rule. But
there's no like
remember
rule
the first
against.
guy.
Yeah, there's clearly a precedent for a guy getting his arm chopped off who should have died there and then. But he made it to the hospital. So you know what? Let's have that battle in Arkham, which is a hospital. I want the arms and the legs.
See, here's what people don't remember. Yeah. There's a no kill rule, but the loophole is, hey, if I chop off his arms and legs, the blood loss will kill him. I didn't kill him.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen in comic books because, like I said, the guy lost his arm above the elbow. You're dead. Unless you're not running to the hospital, because what are you doing when you're running to the hospital? Your heart is pumping your blood out of where your arm should be. You're gonna make it a couple steps, then you're done. But yeah, justice for a lockup from the anime. Oh, that was everywhere I've seen Bane has been mishandled, and I love Tom Hardy. I hate that everything about that Bane. I hate the costume. I hate the stupid breathing apparatus he's talking to. I hate the backup story. I hate the way he looks. I hate the voice most of all. But I love
in this darkness.
I remember in 2013, I'm doing this because there was so much about that movie I didn't like, and he just drove it all home. I had top level talent. Marion Cotillard in her worst death scene of any comic book movie ever. You find me another death movie. I don't care if it's cartoon. I don't care if it's claymation. I don't care if it's puppets. You find me a worse death scene than Talia's scene in that movie. But but this being, like I said, if you guys have been reading Absolute Batman, you'll understand that that version of Bane is, like I said, if they had had that version back in 92, 93, 94 when they first put the character out, you wouldn't hear me, my disdain for the character, because it wasn't waste. You see, everything he does is something that is something that they wanted him to be. They wanted you to fear this character and say, this almighty Bane, oh my God. But they never really did anything like that to make me feel that way. And when you built up this big battle, he wasn't even the Batman that fought him. I remember Azrael beat the fuck out of him. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute. You're building this up, and you're not even giving me the ultimate showdown. You're giving me the substitute showdown. Wasn't a fan of that. And then every time he's come back, somebody's tried to do something different to him. And it's like, okay. So what Scott Snyder apparently did is he's looking at all of this. And he's put together a guy that I want to see hammered. I want to see.
That's how you make a good villain. You make the audience hate them, so when the hero goes ham on them and was like, kick his ass.
Like I said, didn't care. Scott Snyder, you may be watching this because I gave you the link to our channel. Maybe you're not. I don't know. Scott Snyder, thank you for not doing it so far. But I know there's still time to mess this up. Please, the broken back thing, please do not do that fucking tired act. Please don't do that.
He breaks his leg this time.
Yeah, I'm not going to leave you because you've done a lot in this last year or so. I still trust you, but this is a favor from somebody who's been preaching the absolute banner since last Comic-Con, before Comic-Con 2024, when I first saw it up on the screen. Please don't do the broken back thing. Please don't do it. So far, so good. Knock on wood. Don't do it. All right, that was a little bit of an added. William, you're paying attention to the Carmelo, but no, I'm not. Not a big fight guy. I'm not a big combat sports guy. Period. Unless it's wrestling, and it's not really combat sports. I know it's big. I know I've had a lot of people in it that are here. That were here today for the fight. I mean, I know who Carl Alvarez is. I just don't care about boxing. I don't care about UFC. I don't care about any of that stuff. I know you guys love it, and I'm living in a city that adores it, and I'm happy for you guys. William Powell does not care about any of that. So no, I'm not paying attention whatsoever. Sorry. Oh, absolutely horrific. Absolutely. Not that was a good movie at all.
I interviewed
That
Chuck Dixon once, and I asked him about that movie, and he goes, "That was just Hollywood taking over and thinking they knew better."
Well, that was them sticking a character because guess what? The only reason why they stuck him in that movie was because of headlines.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't stick him in that movie because he was a worthy villain at that time. They stuck in that too many villains in it. Shoot, the entire Rogues Gallery was in that movie. But no, I hate it. I don't like that movie, and I cannot believe that movie was directed by the same guy who directed his predecessor.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of scary. I don't. Like I said, every now and then, if somebody big was in it, like when Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez were fighting, I watched that. When it was Brock Lesnar and Frank Mir, because it was Brock Lesnar, Conor McGregor because of what he is. But I would struggle to name you 3 or 4 more of those guys. I would any weight class. That are even active. If it had to be active ones, I would strike out. Let's see how many I can name. Ken Shamrock because he was a wrestler. CM Punk for a little bit because he was a wrestler. He 2-0 or whatever, or 0-2. Brock Lesnar, Conor McGregor, the dude that Nebuchadnezzar, or that guy that Conor McGregor fought. Nate Diaz because he fought Conor McGregor. The women, Ronda Rousey. Heidi, what's her face? Or I don't know her name, but they fought each other. Mandalorian.
Gina
Carano. See, you guys can tell the difference between things I care about because I can roll those names out there.
Yeah, you could say Mandalorian.
I'm not knocking UFC. I'm not knocking boxing. I'm just not into it. And like I said, this is a massive fight from what I'm being told. This is a huge fight. Couldn't care less. Enjoy, everyone. Let's see. Dan Severn. Yeah, Dan Severn. Yeah, he is, and he's done some things I couldn't really be along line, but he's a name that if you told me UFC with 5,000, and if and one of those names ain't on it, I wouldn't even be tuning into the highlights. That's how much I don't care about the UFC. I wouldn't even tune into the highlights unless it was somebody I recognized. Whereas a lot of people are like, oh, they're all over it. They're like, they know every name, they know the trainers, they know the fighting styles, they know all that stuff. Don't fucking care. Don't care. But I know a lot of people get a tremendous amount of enjoyment out of it. This city makes a ton of money out of it. Have at it. Like I said, not everything has to be for me. UFC, combat sports in general, other than wrestling, which is stage, not for me. Yeah. All right. So our next topic, since I don't know how long you can stay along, but I did not see your comment. We're going to go over the Warner Brothers bid. It is a bid. It is a bid. It is not a purchase.
Yeah.
It's
not confirmed yet.
Yeah, Brad, can you find that article and bring it up?
You are dead in me a bar, Lisa. Thank you, sis.
I don't care about it. I mean, there are people who like soccer, and I look at it as something that would put me to sleep. But the whole globe loves soccer. I love baseball, but there are people who can't sit through an inning of baseball. I can appreciate that. I watch wrestling, and there are people who look at me and laugh for watching wrestling. It fills arenas, and millions of people around the world watch it. So everybody's got something that is. But I'm on a platform where, like I've always said, if I'm talking about things I don't care about, I'm wasting your time. And I value your time. I value your time. I would look like a fucking fool sitting up here talking about UFC when you all know I don't care about UFC. You would be able to see it in my face. You'd be able to hear it in my cadence. Brad's the martial arts person on here. I only care about martial arts if it's in the movie I'm in. All right, man, I'm in. I'm in the movie I'm watching. If
You're
it's
in the movies?
Yeah, if it's in the movie I'm watching, and that has been intertwined in the movie, that's great. But if it's the basis of the movie, you can put me to sleep. I'm not going to go, and I know that it's a popular genre. It's been a popular genre for 50, 60 years since motion pictures, pretty much. It's just not for me. He loves it. I would, like I said, I could skip Benadryl and go and watch a martial arts flick because I need fight scenes are great. I need there to be the story that I'm attached to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was far too blasphemous to tolerate. William decided to leave early.
The shit bores me, man. Like I said,
that Benadryl thing. It's like I wanted to like reach you.
It is. If you're not into something, it'll put you to sleep. And like I said, you know, a fight scene in a movie that I'm already engaged in, I'm all for it. I'm all for fight choreography in a movie that I pay, because I don't pay to see a movie for fight choreography. I pay to see a movie for the story, effects, all these things. And if there's fight choreography, I'm all, damn, this is awesome. But if that's the movie, I can watch that shit for free on HBO Max, if at all. But other people are different. Other people can literally break down. Well, that was a armbar, blah, all that. And I appreciate the fact that there's people out there that love it. I'm just not one of them in that regard. All right, so here we are. The reason I think that this is a serious bid, people already keep telling me that David Zaslav wants a bidding war. Okay, what else is new water's wet? He wants the highest payoff so that when the stocks jump, he can cash out and go. That's fine. I understand that. Who's bidding for this? I haven't heard. I mean, people keep telling me that Microsoft is Amazon and all these other ones. And like I repeatedly keep telling people, that's fine. That could be true. My question to you is, the fuck are these people been for 2.5 years?
True.
When it was a much cheaper company. When they were more in debt and their stock was even lower than it would be. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, apparently, this is from Abo News. I'm going to bring that up real quick. I'm going to jump from this and go to the other one real quick. So Twitter. Okay, here we go. Come on, come back up. Because you're gonna get a kick out of this. This side of it. Come on. Okay, we heard read this off. Acquisition buzz. Wells Fargo suggested that Warner Brothers Discovery Streaming and Studios division could draw acquisition interest once it separates from the company's networks business in 2026, with Netflix as the most likely buyer.
Oh my god!
Who is this?
So what you're telling me, Brad, is
hold. Who's the source? Who's the source?
Abo News.
No offense to Abo News. No offense. I never heard of him.
So what you're telling me, Brad, is that they could sell the Snyderverse to Netflix.
They could sell the whole studio to Netflix, apparently.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that from anybody that I would actually take to the bank.
Well, again,
I've never heard of this source.
It's like reporting, like Wells Fargo suggested. And I'm going to read the rest of this.
That too from another.
Do we have any like CNBC or Wall Street Journal or anything? Because this to me is just some shit on there.
Again, this kind of just circled around social media today. I saw.
I've seen that, but that's everybody who wants them to do that. But yeah. By the way, we are not presenting that as something that's happening. I don't know where that would even come from, but yeah, I've seen that bantied around.
Well, again,
the Netflix thing.
See, this is why, though. This is why you don't dig your heels in on stuff like that. Never, ever, ever happening because you look.
Well, hold on. This here is it's
CNBC also backs that up.
Oh,
bring up that article.
Except it's behind a paywall.
Oh, okay, so that might be where they're.
Yeah, because like I said, once again, no offense to Avo, no offense whatsoever. I don't know who you are, and now I'm citing you on the show as if I'm, hold on, Netflix, WBD.
But that would be the biggest amount of irony if that ends up happening.
All right, we got Yahoo Finances, but this is okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just looking for somebody that we can actually we can cite, and then everybody else will be able to cite them. All right. So here we go. Let's go with Business Insider.
Mhm.
All right. David Ellison shows he's serious about fighting Netflix and Disney for Hollywood. I don't think Disney is. Oh, fighting them in general. Okay, gotcha. So that's not. So I'm trying to figure out how I see how Paramount Warner Brothers merger could hurt Netflix. It could. Wells Fargo said Warner Brothers Discovery Streaming. That just gives your annual $6.5 billion. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and stay away from that one because I don't have any. You say CNBC?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't feel like starting that shitstorm over something that's.
Mm-hmm. But it is very interesting about, and it's kind of funny. This comes after all these articles are coming out saying Superman, in fact, made like 3 times Man of Steel, and I go, wait, what? But I'm like, now this
we're not even. That's a banned topic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, maybe they go back to.
Okay, so I can't. So we're going to exclude the Netflix thing because I don't have anything. I don't have anything to go on.
The only thing I'll say on that is like, again, to paraphrase Homer Simpson, if that happens and I took one particular stand up, boy, would my face be red.
Well, anyway, okay. It's not even a thing. It's not even a part of the real conversation that I can find. And that kind of thing, whenever you start talking Netflix and Warner Brothers, you basically open up the can of shitheads that I'll have to deal with in the comments and everywhere else. I don't feel like dealing with it because it's not even a thing. It's not even likely. So Netflix is not even part of the conversation right now because they haven't made a bid. Until Netflix openly, says that they are making an open bid for it, then they're not even part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. I've seen people on Twitter put that, but how many times have we seen people, and then automatically, WBD being bought means that they're just going to call up Zack Snyder and say, "Come on back, buddy." Mm-hmm. I don't feel like dealing with shitheads today. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like doing it. That is a conversation that is a dog chasing his tail and that he will never catch. And if he catches it, now what? I don't feel like opening up that can of words. But as far as the actual people that are actually publicly made known that they wanted bidded, I see them as right now the only credible ones because everybody else you would bring up has had the opportunity since Warner Brothers Discovery became a thing that was eligible to be sold or merged with. None of them have made that move. None of them would have. I mean, he wants a bidding war. What are you bidding for if you're anybody outside of Paramount? You're bidding for IPs, but are you if you obviously did not want to overpay for those IPs, or else you would have bought them already. Because you're buying the IP, what the company's worth $43 billion, and then you have $35 billion in debt. You do the math on that on the total sale because it'll be cash. So it's not like you're moving around assets and hiding shit like that. You're outright, from what I understand, that is an outright cash. That's a purchase. You're purchasing an asset. You're purchasing everything. It's a purchase more so than a merger, the way I read it. If I'm wrong, somebody in the chat let me know. But these companies that have been thrown around all of a sudden have had, not only have they had the opportunity, they had a head start simply because Skydance Paramount wasn't even a thing to do anything while these companies had an opportunity to do this with no competition. They'd be bidding against themselves. So why, if they couldn't get the company or if they didn't want it when they would literally be bidding against themselves, would they want it now when they're going to have to pay more? Because that stock's going to go up just by the rumor of that. And so somebody explain to me why now, as opposed to, are you afraid of Paramount getting that market share? Anybody could have gotten that market share. It was out there to be bought. And now that he was going to split the company up, it was destined to get bought. So where was this desire to get it now? So that's why I'm thinking that it's Paramount in a room by themselves until somebody else in that room says, you know how they put up the placards for the auction? So somebody does this. And if it's one of those companies, then I'm like, okay. Because Amazon could have done it like that. Microsoft could have done it like that. These aren't people who have to wait around. They have the available capital. They can make a cash purchase of this company, its assets and its debt, no problem. So where's the bidding war at? Am I missing the, am I missing?
Well, the other thing is, let's say that this actually goes through. What are the odds that like this gets denied on the grounds of like a monopoly?
Yeah.
Doubt it. Not with the current structure of the SEC. You have as much chance of the SEC striking that down as I do of growing cloves and horns right now and hopping off the screen.
Okay.
With the current makeup of the SEC right now, they're not gonna turn it down. They won't consider it a monopoly, whether it is or not. Somebody would sue them. But here's the thing: with all this consolidation going and merging going on, nobody wants to be the one to sue because they don't want to get sued when it's their turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sports teams. Nobody fought teams leaving their city to go to another city, even though they hated it. When you had Baltimore back in the day, they left Baltimore and they went to Indianapolis in the middle of the night. When you had the Raiders moving from Oakland or LA to Oakland and Vegas, people didn't vote against it. Why? Because they don't know if there's some point in time when it's time for them to leverage moving in their stadium deals to get their stadium funding. They don't want anybody voting against them. So I'm assuming it will be the same. These companies that are doing these mergers now may not follow a lawsuit simply because they don't want somebody doing it if a sweet opportunity for them to step up happens. So in the current makeup of the SEC, as far as approval of mergers and stuff like that, I don't see it getting shot down. Could be wrong. Not a legal expert, but given what was holding up, as soon as certain personnel were in place, Skydance, Paramount, as soon as they could do it, they did it. And now as soon as they became something, now here they are turning around wanting to merge with another company. I just don't see the regulators stopping them. Should they? Different stream. Do I see them? Nah. So
Yes, sir.
What are you talking about? What is Brad? What have you turned my chat into?
Yeah, what'd you do?
I didn't do anything. It's like it's. I mean, I opened a lot of minds today by showing the comedy masterpiece as Mystery Men, but
no, I'm talking about with the whole. I'm starting to feel. Let's see. Now I have to skip like most of these fucking comments. So.
Well, Aaron just sent me something too about apparently it was Variety that was reporting about the whole Netflix thing as the most compelling buyer for Warner Brothers. So I'm going to see if I can find that Variety article about that.
But yeah, so I gotta ask. It's like again, let's say this goes through. What would that mean for DC Studios?
All right,
yeah, we kind of went into that a little bit after Peacemaker the other night.
There's what I think will happen, what will most likely happen in my opinion, and what I prefer to happen.
Okay.
I think that if you drop $43 billion in assets and you drop another $35 billion to absorb debt, I can't believe that you're not going to come in with your own vision.
I see.
That's a lot of money for a throne for you to sit on it with someone else's ideas. What I think will most likely happen is that if this does go down, I don't know where DC Studios is on the priority change for Ellison.
Okay.
So it could be to the point where he comes in and takes a look at it and says, I'm working on these divisions right now. I'm working on consolidation here, here, and here. redundancy, all this stuff. I will get to you. In the meantime, I will observe.
Mm-hmm.
What I would prefer to happen is that, and this, like I said, this is hard for me as a fucking fanboy to tell somebody who just dropped that kind of cheese, is that he do nothing for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just see what fruits that where we're at, Brian. Because as we've spoken before on different platforms, DC's biggest enemy is fucking up his continuity so many times within several generations, both on the big screen and on paper and everywhere. Right now, everywhere you look where DC is doing, they are healing or they are repairing damage done from stupid shit that cut people off from the continuity. I will say it over and over and over again. Continuity is king. Continuity is cash. When your customer trusts you from one step to the other, you get their money. When you break things up and put them out on an island or just completely vanish that island, then they're like, what is my time worth to you? What is my time? What is my money worth to you if you're just going to pull out your little button and hit it every time a new person comes along or somebody with a hair up their ass comes in and says, you know what, I got a new idea. Here's the problem with that, though. And this is where I kind of fall on those latter two, that you still have time, and it doesn't necessarily mean that he'll just come in and blow things up. People who are in the position to do this have egos to the point to where no matter what we as fanboys, you can't do that. James Gunn he's cooking.
Mm-hmm.
If I just drop $75 billion, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that's necessarily how he's thinking, but I'm just thinking from a lot of what these guys do. Us on our tiny little screens and on our blogs and at our conventions, we may as well be termites on a passing tree for this guy. We mean nothing in that respect. And well, they're pulling in this money. They're going to hurt. They are thinking in some cases that no matter what you think from your point of view, they're the person in the jet looking down on all this with the money. They are going to be confident that they can do. Everybody that takes over for the last guy thinks they can outdo the last guy. And if you look at DC's situation, that has been the case. We are here. James Gunn has a job because the people who preceded him thought they could do better. The people who preceded them, and so on. So everybody who has stepped into this gap has thought that they could do a better job. Now, once again, do I think that maybe he's a fan of James Gunn? Maybe there's a conversation. Maybe that's part of the bidding, is sitting down and saying, hey, where this is going. Superman pulls in $600 million. Once again, anybody who's able to accumulate, inherit, or is sitting with their hands on that kind of cash is not going to give two flying fucks about that. You know why? Because they're confident enough to think that whatever they do is going to draw twice that much. Are they right? Are they wrong? I don't know. But they're in the catbird seat with the resources, and it's really hard to tell somebody that just spent that, if they do this, that spent that kind of resources and put themselves on that kind of line to not do whatever the hell they want to do.
Exactly.
So I'm up in the air about it. As somebody, we're a year into all this now. We got our movie. We got our Creature Commandos. Now, once again, we're getting to the part of the stories that I have been hanging on for. We're getting to Lanterns. We're getting to Supergirl, Woman is Tomorrow. We're getting to the things that I endured all this other mess for. So now here we're talking about different ownership. And that bothers me. Because one of the main reasons I didn't buy into the DCU at first is because I didn't trust that it would be around.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to do with James Gunn's quality and his ability to do anything. James Gunn doesn't own anything. James Gunn's an employee. He's an employee of a much larger company that can be bought, sold, people change. So here I am, about to get ready for Lanterns and digging for the long term, and there is, slight as it may be, a possibility that we might be dealing with more upheaval. So that's where I'm at with it. I hope, for better or for worse, we, for all fans of the DC emblem, at least set some benchmarks to where we are judging success by.
Yeah, exactly.
Understand you have the authority and you have the right with your money to do anything else with what you own. But as somebody who's been around for a while now and can tell you that the continuity, and if you do it, if there are changes, make them seamless. Don't just go in and blowing things up. No more reboots and no more, like I said. But once again, I'm a hundredaire talking to a billionaire who it's not. They're not going to hear me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at. What do you think, Jared? And then we'll go to Brad.
Yeah, I think. See, here's the thing. It's like, again, assuming this whole goes through, it's like, look, we saw the same thing when Zaslav came in, because it's like, my thinking on this is that there could be some upheaval, because again, it's like he comes in, the new leadership team comes in and goes, I got a guy that says he can do a way better with DC than James Gunn. And then unfortunately, we're right back to square one, where it's like, okay, so now we got to wait for this guy's DCU. And then it's like, we may not get because 10 years down the line, it could be another company that's going to buy WB. So really, it's like the whole thing with WB over the past, like I'd say 10 years, ever since like this whole thing started, it's more like a battle of attrition, where it's like, how much of this can fans really endure before they go, I'm out. You guys don't know what you're talking about. And plus, the company keeps changing hands, and there's new leadership every 30 seconds. So it's like, at this point, to your point, William, why do I stick around? There's going to be no continuity.
Yeah. Now, if he in the contract with James Gunn, and I'm thinking, okay, well, you got a 10-year plan, but this guy's on a 4-year contract. Are you signed something and didn't announce it? Maybe. But if you're up for sale, there's probably not going to be anybody that's not under currently long-term contract that's re-signed, because that person has the right not to inherit anything. Even fanboys are like, they're not going to do that. There's no way. Like I said, that's why we're on YouTube, and those guys are in gold-plated offices and nice leather chairs and private jets. Mm-hmm. What we say ain't going to mean shit. Even if we probably have the better path. But if you look at it, if he may be having conversations, like you said, with people that are his people, that have been his creatives around his aura for years now, people that he trusts. So, are he maybe having a conversation with James Gunn? Don't know. But I think that it would be foolish, absolutely foolish, for anybody to assume that there would not be changes or could not be changes. Yeah. Not saying that there are, and not saying I prefer that. But you would be, given what we've been through with this company, just in the last 7 years alone, you would be foolish not to entertain the possibility that a new sheriff could put in whatever the hell he wants to. I hope it doesn't happen. It's possible. All right, Brad, what did you think about all this?
Yeah, well, I mean, to that last point, I mean, based on a lot of the reactions I've seen from people who are, let's say, like really, really team Gunn, I mean, you said that you'd be foolish not to entertain that. Well, based on reactions I've seen, there are a lot of fools out there. Mm-hmm. There are people who are just really, entrenched in the idea. It's like, oh, it can never happen, to our guy or to us.
Well, those are the same people that told me that Hamada and Emmerich were going to be around forever.
Yeah.
Too. So, but I mean, it's not a whole lot. I mean, you guys are pretty much saying what I'm thinking. It's like, yeah, I would hope if he comes in and he has his own idea for DC, it's at least, done it's implemented in a way that's non-disruptive, because we've seen this whole how clumsy the Zaslav transition was, and how the idea of okay, let's just rip off the Band-Aid and start anew without properly wrapping up what came before, and hopefully people take that well, and we've seen how that went. So,
but here's the thing: once this is over with, Braden, does he get re-upped, or are we on a film by film basis? Because if you came out and Ellison said, you know what, I am my bid, I'm not going to be outbid. Just say if he says that, and somebody should ask him, what are your plans for the DCU? Do you have a vision? And if I were to, do you have a vision, or do you like the vision that is currently there? And how much time does this vision have before you think, what are your parameters for success for this current one that you're inheriting? I mean, if this happens, I hope the press has enough balls to just outright ask him and see what kind of answer he gives. And if he says, you know what, I like what I see right now, I'll feel better. Is James and that one another question number one, is the current head of DCU the future of that particular imprint?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if he says, I don't know, oh, okay. If he says, yeah, I have no plans on it, then where we go. But if he says we're still evaluating things, like I said, anybody who says that this is at an absolute that there are not changes, how are you coming to that conclusion? Given this, was Zazoff there 7 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
No. This company's had like two owners. It's gone from $74 billion to $43 billion with debt, and it's now no shit potentially on its third pair of hands. Not within our lifetime, but within literally the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
Warner
that's the
Brothers
crazy part. Have people forgotten about that?
3 owners, if you include AT&T, if you include WBD, within 4 years' time, if this were to go through, depending on regulation and dwell time, you're literally going to have 3 different owners in a 4-year span. So you're going to tell me that there's no chance, and every one of those, the change that brought you James Gunn came in from a new guy. The change that brought you the direction that the previous DC films or whatever the hell came from a new guy. Do I want that? No. I think it would be horrible for DC Comics and DC brand. The continuity, for better or for worse, I'm not to the point. Is there something about people you don't like about the continuity that can be adjusted?
Mm-hmm.
You make adjustments. Right now, we're at the point in this game to make adjustments, not wholesale blow up. Hey, I got a new idea. But once again, I'm a fucking moron on YouTube. This guy's a billionaire or had with access to billions, and it's his risk. It's his risk.
Here's the other thing. It's like what they could do is say, hey, we're going to keep DC Studios in the direction. We just won't have James Gunn be the CEO of it.
To see that you didn't, that's to me,
mm-hmm.
That's a tough one because under what circumstances will that look good?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then if it's not his, this whole universe is his right now. It's his vision. Even if he's not writing everything, it's his vision.
Mm-hmm.
But my vote for anybody comes out and says, you just want the Snyderverse to return. At this point, if it comes back, it comes back. If it doesn't, I've lived through worst. I think I lived through a pandemic. There's worse things in life to live through. No, I don't want the continuity blown up for anything at this point. If you can find a way to tell that story within a multiverse or an Elseworlds, that's fine. Right now, as somebody who partakes in the DC and really relies on it being a strong brand, no. My vote would be to continue along the path, wherever that takes us, with what we're doing right now. Now, if James Gunn's movies and stuff start to falter and you have to make a business decision, that's different. But just to replace an idea for the sake of replacing an idea, which has happened a bunch of times, I think it would be really hard to tell a DC fan to be like, "Hey, remember that marathon that I moved the finish line for you a couple of years ago? Guess what? We're climbing Mount Everest, and there's no guarantee there's a top. You're just going to keep climbing because I told you to climb." So what's this?
Oh yeah, Aaron, the variety one we were talking about. Yeah, I've got it up here. I'll read off the because I think this is where like the Netflix thing we were talking about a minute ago. This is where it's originating from. So I'll go ahead and read the paragraph. Indeed, prior to news of Paramount, Skydance is prepping a bid for WBD. Again, this is from Variety, from the one Aaron linked here. Wells Fargo media analyst Stephen Cahill issued a note that pegged the future standalone Warner Brothers as an attractive M&A candidate, with Netflix as the most compelling buyer. Other potential suitors, including Amazon, Apple, Comcast, Sony, and Paramount Skydance.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you go on, there's something you just mentioned that pretty much puts all this to rest. Go back to standalone. Because
they are splitting the company up. It's
not if Paramount buys them. Paramount is buying them whole. They are buying the whole company. And if their bid gets approved, there's not going to be a split. And even if there is a split, their intentions, Paramount Skydance's intention, is to purchase the company as a whole. What these other guys sound like they're attracted to is the standalone entity once it splits up, like the version that has the streaming and all that. Paramount's bid, Skydance's bids, is for the whole thing. So right there, we're actually talking about apples and oranges. But go ahead. Can finish it.
Yes, there's one more paragraph on this. So, regarding the separated Warner Brothers streaming studio biz, K. Hall wrote, "This will be the only large IP asset for sale at a time when most studios and streamers have big aspirations." The analyst acknowledged that Netflix has not historically made any big M&A deals, but he opined a Netflix takeover of Warner Brothers had a number of benefits, including being able to kickstart a theatrical strategy for the streamer, help it scale video games, and most importantly, provide premium content to members. K. Hall noted the value of standalone Warner Brothers at around $65 billion.
Yeah,
And quick follow up on that. To be sure, any Paramount Skydance offer Warner Brothers Discovery would face big financial and regulatory obstacles, arguably much bigger than Skydance Paramount merger.
Yeah, Paramount. Yeah, they've already gone through the process. They're going to go through the same process with the same people who just approved them. So once again, they're buying, their bid is for the whole of Warner Brothers Discovery. So everybody, if there are other people bidding for just the separate component, the two components, unless they're willing to pay more for the standalone component than they would for the entirety of the company, I don't see any other bids. To me, as I see it now, it's Paramount and no one else. Unless they change their minds and decide that, you know what, we want it all. Netflix, we want it all. But then who's going to outbid who? Now I'd have to know where Netflix's shareholders are like, do we want to do this? Whereas I know Skydance's, and you already know that at the outset. And now we also need to know what offer would Warner Brothers Discovery take. I'm assuming that they would take the entirety of it because it would absolve them of the debt load completely. That's what I'm assuming. But unless when we're talking about bids, I'm waiting to hear bid in total and all of it. Otherwise, we're not Netflix and anybody else who's doing it that way are not speaking the same language as Skydance Paramount, who is literally making a bid for everything. So that might be where some confusion is right now, but it's still a rolling thing. I'm not sure if James Gunn will stick around. If Paramount buys Warner Brothers, he could stay. But if he does, I'm thinking it will be more like something. Well, once again, if I'm James Gunn and they put somebody above me or around me to change the course of what I was doing as a autonomous studio head, I don't know if he would stay, and I don't know if I would if I were him.
Because remember, he said part of the reason he took the job is because of the new structure that was established. And if the old structure is coming back, is he really going to stay?
Yeah, if you blow up that structure, you blow up the things he said yes to. Mm-hmm. But once again, if Skydance comes out that we've talked with James Gunn, he's our guy. We plan on keeping him forever, and we're not going to put anything. That if I hear that, I would be relieved. Mm-hmm. I would be relieved because even if I don't like some of the stuff that he might do, you know what I'm really going to hate? Another fucking reboot. Mm-hmm. Because that's going to be.
And we all know William hates the R word on here.
Like I said, if lazy, fucked, stupid, reboot is the love child. I don't want it. I don't want to see another DC reboot in my lifetime, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see it. I think it's bad for the fans. I think it's bad for incoming fans. I think it's bad for the brand. I think it's bad. The biggest thing you have is your longevity and your continuity. Why is this company constantly trying to throw it away at some level? So yeah, I am in team. Let's keep status quo. Let's see where this goes. Let's get at least some stuff out there on all platforms. And if Paramount, Skydance, whatever the hell they end up being, if this even happens, if they evaluate that and they come up with mass reasons that they want to make changes at that point, then I'm all for it. But it would be devastating to come in, like the previous regimes have come in and do that, because I think that the scar tissue when it comes to DC, no matter what you're doing with it, it still hurts. It's still soft. It still stings. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think about the Warner Brothers merger. I think, like I said, I think Brad said what he had to say. Let's see if the chat has any. I've been trying to monitor the chat to see if they have any.
By the way, also,
not not like you think, Mighty Rash. It's gonna be pretty fucking lame, actually.
Yeah. It'd be
He's
like,
not even gonna be able to fly. He's gonna be able to
yeah,
jump.
they could like call them that, and they just have to, like call them like the Bat and the Super.
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
be nearly. Not gonna be nearly.
You know, we back on all that. You know, like with them putting this cash bid, like if this ends up, if this is going to go through, like what do you, everything we talked about, like what do you think the time frame is in terms of like A, it happening, and B, like like him saying, here's what I want to do with the company once I buy it.
With the current administration, like as quickly as possible. Is quickly by record pace.
So
If they come to an agreement, record pace.
So you think like maybe by the end of this calendar year?
I don't know if it's that soon, but Google how soon can a purchase, because this would be a purchase. How regulatory? How soon can a purchase of another communications company can be finalized? And whatever the quickest is, trust me, that's when it's happening.
I was thinking the purchase of another what?
Yeah, well, just Google if Paramount Skydance purchased WVD, how soon could it take effect? That should give your AI, your buddy AI is waiting for him. But yeah, I have people are like, we just because I prefer a particular type of universe. That doesn't mean I want you to blow up this one. You can only damage the ground that you're standing on so much before you can grow shit from it.
It's from what the AI is telling me, it's like 6 to 12 months.
6.
6, yeah.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Where that would put it like what about like March?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's if this bid, like I said, it's right now. It's just a bid. What we were talking about is potential, but yeah,
because Warner Brothers has to say, okay, yeah, buy us.
They will vote on that within a week, especially if the ad is, if it's cash outright, that's money in your pocket. You go away. And then if you want to buy into the new companies, maybe it'll be options because you could flip cash. I mean, there's so many ways to move money when you have money. When you're broke like me and you got coins and dollar bills in your pocket, it's a little bit harder to do these little tricks. But when you got like you don't even carry paper no more, you carry accounts. You can do this shit in a heartbeat. And trust me, I'm not saying people are being bribed. Let's just say politicians can be influenced when it comes to these things. Because the Paramount Skydance merger, that was some shady shit that got held up. And then, blammo, it happened. So, but like I said, I think this is the best. Yeah, and like I said, I hope there's no disruptions. Like the DC right now, I think is in a good place. I think they're in a good place. Especially now, it's not all about James Gunn. We got the next projects we have coming up are not James Gunn's. So this universe is going to flesh itself out in direction that even if people hate James Gunn, you got other stuff in this DCU to play with.
Now, this is I'm gonna be just a little tad petty. Question, but
hold on, you broke up.
If this happens, let's go like worst case scenario. Can you hear me
Who
now?
froze?
Not me.
You have Brad. Okay, I can hear you, but you're frozen. Now you're good. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to be a tad bit petty on this.
What else is new? Well, yeah,
like if everything we're talking, if all this, everything we're kind of like saying in terms of like the nuclear option habits that when he's talking about, and you come and say, okay, it's like, yeah, gun stuff, we're hitting the brakes on that, we're starting DC over. What is the likelihood you think there is that that we see Restore the Gunverse?
There's going to be a hashtag. I was wondering about that myself. There's definitely going to be a hashtag.
You know as well as I do that's going to.
And then we can tell them, move on, guys.
I guess, but it hasn't had. I mean, if this happens within the time frame that it could happen in, it's basically in its infancy. I mean, you had years of the Snyder stuff. You had from 2013 all the way up to 2017. So I mean, this is I don't know. I guess there would be some, but I don't think they'll hear that either. I think that'll fall on as many death.
I'm not even talking about like would the call be heeded. I'm just talking about like would the call be made.
Oh yeah, it definitely would. And then we can say move on.
You know what? I wouldn't partake in that.
Again,
because you
it's
know
like
what?
it's the petty part of me that just has.
I would understand how people feel when they have something to take from them. I'm not going to be the petty shithead that says, no. I mean, I will never wish for somebody to lose something that they enjoyed. So I'm not.
Well, part of the reason why I bring that up is because, like I said, with the a lot of the reactions that I've seen from from certain corners have been, it's like, yeah, this buyout might happen, but there's no way they'll ever lay a finger on what Gunn's doing. It's like, this is just the shit.
They won't lay a finger. I mean, they'll just do their own thing. I mean, and like I said, I would prefer that they just evaluate right now. I would evaluate this right now.
Well, again, I even like talked about, we were talking about the other night. He might come in because Zaslav made like pretty clear early on that he did prioritize DC as one of the big things when Discovery got Warner Brothers. I mean, Ellison might be coming in. He might not be doing this with any specific mindset or goal for DC. He might, it's part of the package. He's going to get it if it goes through. But he might not be looking at it. Might not be like high up on like the reasons he wants to put down the bid for it in the way they was for Saslo. He might be looking at that's part of it, and that'll be under our umbrella if we get it.
Wait and see type of situation.
Yeah. So that's just as likely as everything else we've laid out. He might be like, I don't know if indifferent is the right word, but he might not be driving him wanting to buy the studio in the way that was like for Zaslav.
He may be a fan. Listen, he may be a fan of what Gunn's doing. They may be buds. I don't know. So I'm like I said, I just don't want any more disruption. Anything anybody wants needs to come from the path that we're on, in my opinion. Whether it's some other universe that you're fond of, or whether Canelo Alvarez got knocked, or did he get knocked out? Anthony, I'm not watching. Whether it be, if you want to see anything from what Zack Snyder did, anything, if you want to see something else beyond what James Gunn is doing, it all needs to come from this strain. And if there is any handoff, it needs to be seamless. You as a fan should be looking at it and be like, wow, I see some changes, but I see mostly the body of what I'm into still here. That's how you do it. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the billions, and no YouTuber is going to be in on that corporate conversation. I can tell you what I'm hoping for, but how I feel about hope. It's just trying to chase leprechauns and get a 4-leaf clover. So yeah. So yeah, he got outboxed by. Also, it must have been a decision. You need one more disruption. Nah, I'm not going to say DC can't survive it. That's companies are resilient. I just think it adds on time that I don't fucking have, to be honest with you. If I'm being selfish, I don't feel like, I got other things that I can involve myself into on a pop culture basis. If they were to do this again, I'm done for a while. It's not forever. My time is valuable. We only have limited time on this planet. I want to be entertained by something that is going to be around. I am a universe guy. All right. I'm a universe guy. I don't fucking care about standalones to that point. Unless I know they're going to be part of a trilogy or sequels or things like that, the Batman sequels, and they build out that universe. I'm not a standalone guy. I'm not just make a good movie. It doesn't have to be connected. Fuck that. Fuck that through every hole. That is not what I'm here for. I come from a genre. I grew up in a genre where there are universes, where there's a connectivity and momentum. I understand if you people, it's not for them, but for me, I'm speaking solely for me. I'm a universe guy. All right. When you start building a universe and selling me on a universe, that's what I demand from you. I demand what you advertise. I was promised the DCU. That's what I want. All right. And I don't want to disrupt it. That was the one thing that I when they got James Gunn on there, they got a comic book guy who understood comic book continuity. Now I need whoever takes over to have the same respect for continuity as he does. Before you blow anything up, understand that there's somebody else. When you pull the plug from the cable box or the router and the whole house is using the internet, you're not the only one using the internet. Think about, you don't have to listen to us. Like I said, we're 30,000 people below. Understand collectively what that does to fans when they buy into what you're selling and then you take it off the menu. Look back at the last 10 years and see the kind of damage it's done. And David Ellison, if you're watching this, thank you, like and subscribe. If you're watching this for continuity's sake, continuity is cash, continuity is king, continuity is the vein that is your lifeblood as a 85-year-old company. Take a look at this. And if you have to blow it up, if you, at the end of all that, you decided it's for the best of the franchise you are buying to start in a new direction, all right, I'm fine with it. But to take a look at all the unintended consequences. When you lay mines, it's not just the enemy that gets blown up. Some poor slep walking a blind gets blown up. Unintended consequences of the vision. Because your predecessors, if this goes down, did not give a fuck about any of that. Granted, they didn't have to, but look what it did. No more reboots. No more restarts. Continuity. It's free. You don't even have to pay. It's free. It's the one thing you can offer your audience and your collectors that is more valuable than giving them something for free. They're trusting you're going to be there consistently. Yes, you'll make changes. Yes, you'll make adjustments, but you won't blow everything up. Once DC gets on that footing, DC will be on par with any studio or any other comic book franchise. They just got to figure it out. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. $5 super chat from Rational Skeptic, William, Brad had Hans Zimmer and versus Danny Elfman. Okay, versus John Williams versus Alan Silvestri. Who did the best superhero film?
Zimmer, no contest. Zimmer.
What did John Williams? He said John Williams is Superman.
Yeah, I think that's the only one he did.
It's the only one he ever needed to
Hans
do.
Zimmer, absolutely Hans Zimmer. Of those options, Hans Zimmer.
Okay, I love Hans Zimmer, but not for superhero movies. He's not in this class, for my opinion. Mm-hmm. You give me Dune, you give me Blade Runner. Oh my God, you give me Blade Runner. I can listen to Blade Runner till I go deaf, and that's his score. Him and Benjamin Moffat. Oh my God, Dunkirk. In his superhero movies, I like Man of Steel's theme, but it's not. It doesn't do for me what John Williams' theme does for Superman.
That's the universe for me.
And I've heard a lot of Hans Zimmer, so I know the kind of Hans Zimmer I like to hear. The notes that are in there's nothing in Man of Steel that's bad. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a hater, but there's nothing in Man of Steel that touches Dune. Kiss the Ring in Dune is better than everything on the Man of Steel soundtrack, and we're talking about the same people. We're talking about the same two people, same men. I think it's Benjamin Walsh who worked on that one with him. And it's Hans Zimmer. So I'm not pitting one person against each other, but there's Kiss the Ring on Dune Part 2 is better, in my opinion, than the entirety of everything he did for Man of Steel. Seawall is better than anything he's done anywhere, period, combined. So, and when it comes to superhero stuff, my favorite composer is Hans Zimmer. But superhero stuff, I am going to go John Williams. Danny Elfman is tough because it's so dated. What did Alan Silvestri? Remind me what he did.
Avengers.
That's a tough one. But I know at the top for me it's going to be John Williams. Mm-hmm. As far as superhero stuff. Not overall. As far as superhero stuff. Danny Elfman's basically it's Batman. What else is he?
Well, he also did the Flash TV show.
Okay, cinematically.
Yeah, and he did the monstrosity of Justice League 2017.
Yeah, he did that. The Batman one puts him
up. That's a reason to not put him on this
one. Well, no, but the Batman puts him in the class.
I have kind of a hot take on that. I actually think the Flash theme in 2017, that's one part of the movie I kind of was able to get down with, was the Flash theme in 2017.
Dude, because man, there are other. I'd have to go with those two, and then everyone else. But like I said, now if you were giving me overall composers, it's Hans Zimmer, and don't even ask me about anyone else.
Now we could add.
Thank you for the $5 super chat, Rational.
Now we can add Junkie XL to that.
That's another one why I was waiting.
I would go with Junkie, definitely. ZSJL.
Yeah, just the Flash scene, alone.
Like, yeah.
What's the Force of
At the Speed of Force, yeah.
Speed of Force.
Yeah.
I listened to that.
Yeah.
And the time he did it with the guitar.
Yeah.
that
Oh my
was
god,
beautiful.
yes.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So
Yeah, so I'm going to bring that back up. Where's that? There. Yeah, for me, it's like in terms of like not just superhero scoring and overall scoring. For me, it's like of these four. I mean, it's not even a question. Zimmer is number one. I mean, it's like, and I mean, I'd say that again. I mean, I've made my feelings a lot with Williams with the again. I said I'm of the opinion like the Williams Superman thing's been driven to the ground, like how much it's been used in settings where it should not be used. Which if
there's a red S on it, then you can use it.
No, for me it's the red S. If it's not Christopher Reeves, it should not, under any circumstances, be a part of that.
No, that theme does not belong to Christopher Reeves Superman. That belongs to Superman.
Again,
finish your point. This is your time.
So, and then again, Elfman, again, been kind of a jackass in recent years, but again, he actually the Flash theme on his the Flash TV show from the 90s that was pretty well done too. That really captured.
Dude, how the fuck do you remember that? Why the fuck do you were like a zygote when that show came out?
Well, yeah, but they did reruns on the Sci-Fi Channel.
That's
when
true.
I was
That.
So
I love that show. I love that one season of that fucking show, dude.
Yeah. Which it got
expensive show in the world to make, though, man.
Yeah, that's I mean that's what killed it, was it just cost too much during that for that network during that time period. And who else do we have on here? So that Silvestri, because he hasn't done a what is he?
I'm not as familiar, to be honest. I am not as familiar with
Avengers. That jumps out, and I mean that theme is iconic itself. Was as far outside of Cape shit, like what's he done big time? Because I actually got to see him get a Lifetime Achievement Award, and I was actually in the audience for that. So like, why am I drawing a blank on that? Because they ran the game.
I know it only happens on this show. We draw blanks about shit we talk about all the time.
Back to the Future. He did Back to the Future. He did
Here, listen to news. I just did that for no reason.
Yes. Let's see. We have on. Yeah. So Silvestri. Look at a few more he's got here.
Just a pal.
Like Mission Impossible. Well, yeah, he did the original Mission Impossible movie.
Well, that's an easy.
He worked a lot with Robert Zemeckis. Here's a good one. He did The Mummy Returns. That movie.
Well, you know what? Some shitty movies have really good scores.
Yeah,
there are a lot of movies, like we were talking with that miserable experience we went through this afternoon. The soundtrack was excellent. There are some movies that are absolutely abysmal, but I could just listen to the score. There are movies. Listen, Nolan. There is not a such thing. I'm not the biggest fan of Nolan. There is no such thing as a Nolan movie with a bad score. Even if I don't like the movie, I'm not the biggest Inception fan. Not the biggest. I thought I would be.
Me neither.
I wasn't. Time I can do. There's a fucking 4-hour version of Time that I played while I'm doing stuff in the store. I played it up here. There is no such thing, and a lot of times it's because he's working with Hans Zimmer. But there is no such thing. Even if I don't like, I already know that I'm gonna like the Odyssey's thing because it's a Nolan movie. That part of the cake that he brings to the game, I do love about him because he does capture the moment with who he has as his composer. So I mean, no matter who it is, you just dude, if it's fucking if it's Zimmer, I'm all over it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm bringing up because you mentioned the Mummy Returns in there. It's like I posted this earlier about it's a little bit of fun I had with the Mummy Returns. That Mummy Returns is bad, guys. Mummy Returns is a horrible, terrible. It's.
But it was for the time it was released.
Yeah. It's a very fun bad movie, but it is a bad movie.
Oh, the car chase scene was ridiculous.
Yeah, like The Rock. I mean, that's his.
Oh yeah, the CGI professors would disembowel that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's based on the 20-foot lobster at the end. Come on, so
with the eye blinking and shit, it's all looking like claymation. The skeletons that look like they were paper bags with hangers connecting arms.
We should do that. We should do like our. Would you be down for that, guys? Like doing like a Raj Bar, The Mummy Returns, because everybody's like on. I think everybody acknowledges it is. The Mummy Returns is not good, so that's like I don't think you're like But
You know what? It's not awful.
it's enjoyable. But again, it's
It's a good afternoon at the movie theater.
yeah, it's definitely a beat. It's like something Ed Wood would make if he had a budget. So
Wow, damn.
so
You got where did that movie hurt you? Point to the dog.
no, don't get me wrong. It's like I've watched The Mummy Returns many times. It's like it's very very fun, but it is stupid as hell. So
Well, the first one, come on, was
no, the first one is like the first one actually first of all actually makes an attempt to be a horror movie.
It's not. It was never supposed to be one though. It was supposed to be a comedy. I've always taken the movie movies. By the way, go ahead and enlarge me.
Okay.
Um,
Where's the enlarge button?
Arnie Artbacker. Comics came in. Area 51. This is what we were doing
Awesome.
Kickstarter campaign for. So they're all autographed by him. There's one cover there. Men in Black, homage to him, Men in Black. There's that one right there, and then there's another variant cover right here with his signature right at the bottom there. So congratulations, Johnny. I'll make a post about that and tag you in it. I'm glad to be a part of that. Now we are talking. Whoa, there are some angry wrestling fans out there today. WWE. As by the way, I pulled that up. Yeah, he is an up and comer. I like his Batman. Theme song. And there's a version of it where one guy took it and did it. He played all the instruments to the Batman, and it sounds beautiful. So yeah. Now we made the announcement, or they made the announcements back in, that WWE was going to, coming back to Vegas, and I'm like, I'm all good with that. For selfish reasons. I love having wrestling in my backyard. I'm not a big fan of the WWE product, and I probably will skip it this year as well. As far as like paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to go down there and see something I can see on TV. Made an announcement that a lot of worst kept secret this afternoon or yesterday afternoon. That WrestleMania 43 in 2027 will be taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It was they announced it at the AAA show that was here in Vegas last night. It got booed. The response I'm seeing to this is not good.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care because they are getting a yacht.
Here you go.
Yeah, they are getting so much money that the sound of the money is going to drown out any disposition we have about this. Is it good for WWE financially? Sure. TKO and Shapiro, I think it was Mark Shapiro, made a comment the other day because Vince, for everything you can hate Vince McMahon, and there's a lot, but his structure of selling WWE to the audience was that it was an affordable night that you could take a family to. That was the one thing during whatever era you want to, even during the Monopoly years from 2001, 2016, 2017, before AEW came along. A WWE ticket was still relatively affordable. Now under TKO, they've prioritized, and they've even outright said this, maximizing the value of the dollar over that environment. So they're getting a boatload of money from Saudis. I got a problem with this I don't even need to use the political one. I'll leave that off the table because there are so many other reasons, critical ones, that I think this is a horrible idea. WrestleMania is an American icon, for better or for worse, for good or how I feel about the products at most time. WrestleMania is an American staple. It is American. I don't even agree with holding WrestleMania in London or in Canada or in any. It's America. The bulk of your audience in any wrestling, unless you're New Japan or unless you're a foreign-owned or foreign-based company, the massive bulk of your audience is in the US today. When you take an event and you put it on the other side of the world, you isolate your bulk of your wrestling fans. When WrestleMania comes to your town, I know because I was just here, it's not just WrestleMania. WrestleMania brings with it an entire economy. Hundreds of other indie events, one of which I hosted here at the center. WrestleCon is always in the city that WrestleMania is. I don't know if you're going to have a WrestleCon. I ain't going. Most people can't get to Saudi Arabia. Most people can't afford to fly outside of their own hometown. So we're eliminating the foundation of your audience. Yes, can the Saudis make it financially viable and worth it for you? Of course. But your fan base is how you got to that deal. There would be no TKO without the fans who stuck with you through some really ugly products, through some really sordid stuff that went on, through just a mediocrity at years-long stretches that packed these places. Now, even the WrestleMania that was here in Las Vegas, biggest complaint I heard, being right here in Vegas, it's too expensive. It got priced out. And I would get people who came in who were on their way to WrestleMania. I'd hear what they paid for the tickets. I'm like, holy shit. If you gave me $5,000, I'm not going to WrestleMania. So it's this thing in this moving WrestleMania or placing it in Riyadh is just it's emblematic of what WWE is becoming. It's separating itself from the everyman, which was their biggest thing. Go all the way back to Hulk Hogan, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake. Yes, these were fantastical, over-the-top individuals, but they played to an everyman fan that could afford to show up at their shows, that could go to their show. You ain't going to this. That's if there's even seats available for you, if you could miraculously get over to Saudi Arabia. You got the Saudi crown. You got the entire government that's going. You got every rich fat cat in the world that's going to be going. And they know enough rich people to fill the seats, not just the luxury boxes. So not only have you been priced out of this event, it's been taken out of your country. WrestleMania is now going to be some distant shit from 10,000 miles away. It's a 12-hour flight away. Actually, no, it's more than that. Yeah, I took it. I've been on that flight to Saudi Arabia. I don't even know if I like AEW or New Japan. Well, long to go over there 12 hours to go see your pay-per-view. Even if I had my own jet, fuck it, do I want to sit for that long? Could fly somewhere else and just watch it on the plane. So the political parts of it are not good either. You don't need me to bring up the issues. There are issues that if you are an American fan of an American-based company that draws most of its fan base from America, you don't need me. You got Google. You don't need me to tell you the issues here. But even without those, it's like when people say, well, let's do the Super Bowl in Berlin. I'm like, what? I don't know. I got a problem with it on those grounds. I know you two aren't the biggest wrestling fans, but in general, if you had anything that's an American established thing, that is a thing that's been around for decades and decades.
Should keep it in America.
This is, and if it's an American thing, like it's different if it's soccer. Soccer is a global sport. Soccer shares its fan base with every inch of the world. Things like the NFL, things like wrestling, pro wrestling, and WWE, that's an American thing. Your fan base is in America, and even if they can't show up to it, they got to get up 10 a.m. in the morning to watch this. And it's a 2-day event. And like I said, these wrestling things and AEW is getting to that point too, because when Double or Nothing was out here, there was a bunch of indie shows. We were at one. Whenever you have a massive wrestling event anywhere, you have an economy that goes with it. You don't even have to go to WrestleMania. I didn't go to WrestleMania. I went to a crap ton of wrestling events here. So you're taking that economy from the country you're based in, and you're taking it because it can't exist across overseas like this. So not only I'm not a big fan of making any of the main line events like this over to another country. I'm not a fan of doing anything like this. If you wanted to do Royal Rumble, okay, fine. If you wanted to do a pay-per-view in Saudi, fine. But you're doing WrestleMania. That is your Super Bowl. That is, if there are a lot of people who may not even watch WWE on a regular basis throughout the year, that this is the one they watch. This is the one they feel most affiliated with. So the word isolation is a big part for me. So, Jared, since you're the guest, what do you think about this?
Well, I think I do agree with you on that sense because, again, I'm not the biggest fan of wrestling, but I'm like, if it's an American thing, American established, most of your audience is in America, why wouldn't you have it in America? I don't understand this. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Brad, I know it's just not, I don't know if there's a big WrestleMania Kung Fu type thing, but if there was, Kung Fu is global though.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere in the world. So this wrestling is really the one, is the one thing that is kind of like that. Well, look at it this way: you're running WWE. I can go make a fuck ton of money. Yeah, and you know what? And they've made that decision. It's just that you got to come back home sooner or later. And if your mentality is to maximize the dollar, then even if you're not in Saudi Arabia, you're going to be running up the prices here. And if I'm Tony Khan, that WrestleMania week, I make sure I got something going on here in America. I make sure I got something going on in America, and I make sure it's cheap. Because there's one thing Tony Khan has done. He has kept his prices low enough to where it's affordable. If I'm then, you're a shithead. You're just proclaiming that for. Okay, I need context, Bill. If you're still there. Yeah, I'm just for those reasons. I am with Japan. No, not for WrestleMania. For Wrestle Kingdom, yeah. But if it's based here, your core fan base is here. It should be here. So, all right. Okay. So Bell, if you're still here, why are you shithead? Oh, you're talking about. No, I don't. I don't feel like every time we talk the Netflix thing, I'm not dealing with no, we're not dealing with that. That's why you're. No, I don't think you're a shithead, Bill. But the conversation I'm talking about that I don't want to have. I don't want to have. All right. How long are you hanging around, Jared? If I'm not kicking you out,
I'm actually about to head out. William, thank you so much for having me. Brad,
no problem, man.
I will see you guys later.
All right, see you,
all
Jared.
right, man. That was Jared, Comic Book League. Google him or find him on Instagram
or just
and on YouTube.
King's Wonder Woman. Probably pull him up.
Yeah, people who love Tom King. All right, that was Tupac, by the way. You missed that part.
Yeah.
All right, so you know what? I got a couple minutes. All right, guys, don't piss me off. All right, don't. The dump button is I got it right in my hand here. It's called my mouse. I've had a rough day on this fucking YouTube thing.
Oh, you mean we're watching all comedy
trash movie?
William, do you get any pizza this week? As Bro was asking.
No, I have not got a pizza. I don't even know what I'm eating because I overran with everything I had to do today. Question, William, you can finish Zack Snyder's first with two movies. I'm like, you could do it with one movie, as far as I'm concerned, if you had to. Two movies would be optimal, but I don't want the 20 or 30 that are going to be like, you
planned two more. I mean, that's
it. Yeah, that's all I need. All right, well, familiar face.
Yeah,
and I was hoping that someone else.
Oh, by the way, Droga says he's going to have a burger tonight. He's going to have a good burger tonight. That is.
Oh, wow.
But yeah,
2 years of telling that stupid ass joke, you found somebody else to go along with you. All right.
That comment about WrestleMania, if I'm a business guy, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I mean, I understand the must be American. But as you said, WWE is worldwide, and I can send my product all around the world on the internet for, whatever that is.
Here's a huge problem with that. Yes, they are worldwide, but they're really not. It's really an American company. Your viewership, 85% of all people who view
Is
WWE.
it a public company? I'm sorry.
What's up?
Is it a public company?
TKO is publicly traded.
Yeah, if I'm a stock owner, I mean, that's the deal.
If I'm a stockholder, I'm going to raise some concerns because you just signed a TV deal, a massive TV deal with another one up the way. And if I'm Netflix, if I'm any of these people who are paying you for that deal, once again, yes, you can go anywhere you want to and take money from anybody, but your audience that you have to keep, kosher with is here in America. Those are the people you can keep the Saudis happy to get raw cash, but the amounts of money that you consistently get from the American audience and deals based on the American audience, you have to stay cool with those people, or
but
those ratings go down.
The deal with the American audience through the internet.
That's not that doesn't regard
programming.
That's not going to work for wrestling fans. Trust me, I've been one for 40 years.
I was a wrestling fan in the 80s, but
yeah, in this day and era, they see this as a slight. And when wrestling fans, especially in the 2020s, they're fickle. Those boos, those are people who had paid to be at a WWE event here in Vegas. And they made that announcement thinking that the crowds were going to cheer that on. They massively booed that. And if you paint the picture to your American audience that this is what you want to be, that's fine. But at the same time, you always got to come home. There's only so much money Saudi can give you. You can't host all your pay-per-views there. It's logistically impossible. You cannot replace that audience, that your American-leaning audience. You can't replace them. So, yeah, it's something that they need to think about in the long term, possibly in the short term. But like I said,
I have a god awful lot of money, man.
Yeah, but it's not the kind of money. It's a big payout. It's not the revenue stream that they get from the United States. It's not even close. The money that they make and the deals that that WWE and any American Wrestling Federation is leveraged here in the United States is what they make their money off of. That's why they negotiate these deals with these streamers. That's why they negotiate them with these network TV deals. And that's why USA and TNT and all these companies and all these platforms are willing to put billions out there for them because that American audience. If you fuck around with that American audience, the American-based audience, you start losing that leverage. So, like I said, I'm not a big fan of it for several reasons, but I don't think it's good business.
Believe me, I have nothing but anger towards Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia can die in a fire for all I care.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Tomorrow you better hope. Fucking. Hey, how about CeeDee Lamb catch one of those 3 balls he dropped in? Never mind.
Yeah, I know. I'm pissed off about that too.
That fucked up one of my fantasy teams, man, because I have CeeDee Lamb. His bitch ass could have got me some points. I never thought I'd be laughing at Mad fans. Depends on what fans you're talking about. Peachy, wow, there's some cowboy haters in here, so there you go. All right, guys. Anthony, you're on the stream, so I don't need a paragraph.
Funny, Will. William. What I said earlier to me, it's more likely. Skydance. This is gonna be if Skydance does this, it's considered a monopoly because they already own Paramount. Then they buy a studio like two other studios in Warner Brothers in DC. I don't think the FTC or SEC is going to allow that. I think it's more likely that Apple buys it or something like that.
Anthony, if you look who's currently in office, believe me, the palms have been greased for whatever is going to happen.
Yeah. They wouldn't be preparing this bid if they thought there was any problems.
Yeah, no, but no, I don't care who's in office. And
that's a big deal when it comes to this. It's his FTC. You got a 2-1 vote on approval on this one. They just approved this one. It's not technically a monopoly because it's not just a monolithic. There are still
They're
other
a
places.
production company, though. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
How is
no.
that not a monopoly?
A monopoly is when you have the word.
We
And
accuse
Anthony, you're absolutely right. It would be a monopoly, but believe me, palms will be greased.
Legally,
no,
no, it would not be. Legally, no, it would not. It would not be a monopoly. Would it fuck up the workplace? Yeah.
No, and William, I feel it hypocritical that people accuse Disney of being a monopoly when they bought out Fox.
They
But
weren't. People don't know what the word monopoly means. That's not their fault. It's not monopoly. Monopoly is if there are 5 different things out there, and I either buy or have controlling interest in all of them, and you as a worker for one of those things have nowhere to go. You as a customer of one of those things have nowhere to go. That's a monopoly.
Like Standard Oil in the like early 20s and stuff like.
Yeah, and then they break them up.
Yeah.
When everything is so big that you have no choice but to associate with one thing, that's a monopoly. That's not going to be the case with these studios, though. There are still other studios out there. Are there less than what they were before? Is it shittier for a worker and a customer? Yeah, but a monopoly is you have no other options. Anybody who's left around, they have so much of the market share that you cannot function as a retailer, as a consumer, and as a worker. That's a monopoly. Technically, this would not. You could sue in court, and this would not. You would lose.
No. The reason why I in my head I think it's a monopoly because basically there's not really the.
Everybody who's not talking, mute themselves, please.
Is it me?
No, it's everyone else. Go ahead, Anthony.
Well, what I was saying is in my head, why I feel it's a monopoly, William and Brad, is more that it feels like the big 3, the traditional big 3, what's it called? The old golden age studios are gone. Paramount is gone. Now WB is going to be gone. If
Paramount still exists though as an entity.
No, but I not in the traditional sense. Not in the traditional sense is what I'm saying.
Those big 3 companies you're talking to are still the ones that own Paramount, Peacock, HBO Max. They didn't go away.
They all have separate owners. Paramount was bought by a production. I mean, Skydance is not necessarily a studio in that regard. So Paramount is still around. Warner Brothers currently is still around. Disney owns Fox, which
so it's not like Disney.
No, even Disney bought a studio. They didn't buy all the studios. They don't have controlling interest in the majority of studios. You can still function in the movie making and studio world with other companies, and you would still be able to do that without. Will there be less companies? Yeah, but it's not a functional monopoly though. So it's not a monopoly.
And do you guys feel it's more the natural progression of things that some of these older studios are starting to like not go out of business, but starting to disappear, like a Columbia Pictures, to a certain extent Paramount, and now WB and stuff like that. Like if a company like in the traditional sense, they don't own their name. Another company owns them, is what I'm saying. Like
that's been the same. That's been that way for a while. But when you're talking about it's where the customer is taking you. You've had so many people walk away from traditional TV that they're basically just going where the money is. A lot of people are not watching. I know a lot of cable cutters, but they don't realize when you cut the cable and you sign up to something else, guess who owns that? The same guy who just cut the cable. Comcast, Universal, all these people, all the cable companies, are in bed with one of these studios anyway. So all they're doing is shifting their assets and their resources to support a different infrastructure. But that's based on what the customer went.
Yeah, all these streaming services are extensions of ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Not Netflix. Netflix is not an extension.
No, and that's what makes Netflix unique. But Netflix is not a network. Netflix is not. And people forget.
It's a studio.
They're a studio,
Can we
Yeah,
have
but
no,
they're a
and
studio. They're a studio that serves the function of themselves. They're a proprietary studio. They're they
it's, a,
they
it's
they
the
do
same
these
with
things.
Apple
what
and
people forget,
Amazon.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
yeah, and what people forget, Netflix started out as a DVD weren't they a
I
distribution
got you,
center
son.
for? Weren't they like a distribution for DVDs, like a seller for DVDs, like those kiosks and stuff like that?
No, that's
Originally,
Redbox. That's Redbox. Netflix.
Oh,
I don't-
Netflix used to sell mail and DVDs and stuff like that, and then they stopped doing it, and it's totally streaming.
yeah, no,
because
that's
there
what
was
I'm saying.
there was no demand for the physical media anymore.
Well, yeah, once the media. Well, anyways, have a good night. I'm gonna get out of here so other people can talk later.
All right, have a good flight, dude. All right.
So, William, what is your thoughts so far on the Zdarsky, like the first 3 issues of the Captain America? Do you like it, or are you like?
I might. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of changes that they've made. I'm not used to this Captain America. I'm not used to the position Steve Rogers is in, calling anybody sir, and I don't. I'm gonna need a couple more issues to absorb the changes, but it's a dramatic shift from the standard Captain America.
No, and for me, I feel they're setting up David Colton to be U.S. agent. Do you agree?
No.
Like,
I think they're setting him up to get killed.
you think so?
Yeah, because Steve Rogers is Captain America. Anytime you take Steve Rogers out of Captain America and not in a costume, you're flirting with disaster. He has to be around. He has to be around. If they would have done this book with just this dude, this new dude, this Major, you wouldn't be able to give it. I wouldn't be able to give it to a homeless person. Be like, hey, homeless person, you want this? No, I don't want that. The homeless person would be like, hey, Steve Rogers, get Captain. Nope, take it back, man.
I thought Nomad was just another. I thought the Nomad character that Steve becomes later on in his runs is just a darker version of a more jaded version of Cap. Isn't that
Well, no,
what
it's
Nomad
something
is?
he can use without associating the Captain America uniform with what he had to do at that particular run. That's all. But even when Captain America in issue 332 stopped being Captain America when he resigned, which is a very famous story, he was still in the book as the captain. John Walker took over Captain America, but every other page was Steve Rogers in the book. You take Steve Rogers out of Captain America, you take the money out of the wallet. It's just not going to happen. That's one of the reasons why Brave New World, one of the many reasons, but one of the primary reasons, Steve Rogers is Captain America.
Is that why people originally didn't like Miles, because it wasn't Peter? Like,
no, Miles was introduced in Ultimate Universe that wasn't the mainline universe. So he had time. They had time before they merged that universe. He came about in 2011. They didn't merge that universe to where he became into our mainline universe until Secret Wars in 2015. Miles was came at a time where the problem is not the problem, but the thing is Ultimate Spider-Man was doing well at the time of Ultimate Fallout came out. So he came through a popular version of Spider-Man and a very popular storyline. So he had a head start right there, and he was identifiable amongst the ethnic group that that was not
represented in comics.
And you still had Spider-Man. You still had Spider-Man in the comics. Spider-Man was still Peter Parker for that period of time. Was still your mainline Spider-Man. So you weren't replacing him. You weren't replacing Peter Parker in the mainline universe with Miles Morales. So you didn't have the same problem. Hello, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
That's not Joe.
Who is it? You're muted, whoever you are.
So it plays a loop. This guy popped up on Perp's channel.
Okay.
I don't know who it is.
All right. Well, here you go. That's kind of hilarious.
And also the problem with this, like WrestleMania going to Saudi Arabia, is that where does all the indies go? Because
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. When I say WrestleMania, yeah, like the stuff I benefit. Dude, I mean, I did very well during WrestleMania. But yeah,
back in the day, Ring of Honor used to have a big show on during that time.
Yeah, Supercard of Honor. And if I'm Tony Khan, I hosted a Supercard of Honor the WrestleMania week. So yeah, you're right, and that's what I mean by the economy that you do you take away from an American audience is because it's not going to happen over in Saudi Arabia. It's not going to happen.
No. And as
trust
you
me,
said, there's also WrestleCon that's
WrestleCon.
not going to go over there.
Yeah, TNA came out here. I went to a TNA event. I mean,
and also the other problem is all these wrestle journalists, they've all come out saying that they will not go to Saudi Arabia, especially the female journalists.
well, yeah, and that's another thing is you have to change your product. Listen, I can respect your customs of any country you want to be in, but this being an American product, and I have expectations of what wrestlers wear and how they look. Like I was saying this earlier this afternoon, it's not just a skimpy outfit for perverts to look at. These outfits are part of their gimmick. They're part of their persona. How Lyra Vaquera comes out with her wings and her costume, that is part of her persona. I watched her wrestle in Saudi Arabia a couple of months back, and it didn't look anything like her. You know, it's pro wrestling, and it's an American thing. And when you have to change your product, I always say when you have to change your product into something, if you have to make adjustments to something, your product is no longer your product.
Yeah,
that's
how
right. So
and like
but I can understand. Like for me, I can understand that.
Hold on, Anthony, let her finish, and then you can go.
Sorry, Aaron.
You have to wear like outfits that go right to your
yeah, and like I said, not
your elbow right here, and then you can't show any legs.
No midriff or nothing. And you got to wrestle in that. But like I said, I can respect their customs. As an American-based company, though, do I want to change my product to anything other than what it is? They've made the decision that they wanted to. Chuck Cage, hold on for a second. What is your stance on streamers? Do you think they should keep your bought films or offer refunds or physical copy? I don't know enough about that situation to give you a good answer, Chuck Cage. I know there's some anger over those things where you license stuff, but I don't know a lot about that. I don't like to speak on something that I don't have too much knowledge on.
And the main thing is the moolah. The Saudis are giving WWE a ton of money, and for me, I feel eventually, like, you know how remember how boxing in the 80s, like, I know you didn't watch a ton of boxing, William, but boxing started transitioning to doing site fees with the casinos. I think that's what's going to happen with wrestling, where you're not going to book major arenas. You're going to focus doing everything in Vegas, like in the casinos, which are sterile environments.
Well, they're still expensive. I think what TKO and WWE are doing, and it's going to be when they do business, they're going to do it until fans stop showing up. And right now, they're in a good spot. But I never heard anybody boo a WrestleMania announcement in my life. I mean, even with the New Orleans losing it to Vegas, they were kind of like, that's kind of.
They're saying there must have been, like, for that Vegas thing, William. They're saying the actual government for New Orleans is upset because they feel that Vegas undercut their bid, basically.
Well, Vegas did. Vegas undercut their bid by making a shit ton of money in Vegas. And WWE and TKO saw that, and they're like, "Oof."
See, at Worlds Collide, the crowd kept booing and saying, "You sold out."
Yep.
Throughout the entire thing.
It was loud. It wasn't just a smattering. It was loud. It was overwhelming. Like I said, they're going to have to make adjustments, but
but I can understand why they're doing that, though. Like, we can't go into a country and expect them to adjust to what our
when in Rome, do as the Romans do. But it's just a decision to take my product to that country is what I have a problem with. How do they use New Orleans? They really didn't. I think they meant to go to New Orleans. They were ready to go. WrestleCon was already scheduled for New Orleans. But when they got those receipts, like I said, I'm living here in Vegas. This town was buzzing with money. They made more money. This was the most profitable WrestleMania in the history of WrestleMania. Now, there had been 41 other WrestleManias, or 40 other WrestleManias. And for them to do that calculation at this one that they did here in Vegas made more than any of them. That's they didn't use that. They intentionally meant to go to New Orleans, but This TKO crew is going to follow the cash.
And
All right.
honestly, I think in general, that's going to be the future of pay-per-views in general for sports, William. In my honest opinion, when it comes to like sports that do pay-per-views like boxing or UFC or wrestling, I think Vegas is the most profitable city in the country because it's becoming more family-oriented. Do you agree?
No. In the 90s, yeah. Now it's like they're
back to the adult-oriented entertainment.
Yeah, because there's nothing for kids really here to do when you bring them in. So it's like, kids can't gamble. So, they can't go to clubs. They can't drink.
Oh, well, what is your opinion on Ultimate Wonder Woman? I haven't been able to read the last issue.
I am waiting for. There's no such. You talking about Absolute Wonder Woman?
Yeah, the last issue that came out.
I thought it was great. I thought it was. I thought it was consistent. We went over it at the beginning of the show with Jared. I love the artwork. I'm loving the entire book. I don't have enough good things to say about the entire franchise.
Are they doing like how they did it with Superman and Batman, where they switched one of their characters? Was it Bane? What character that was a Batman character is a Superman villain now?
They haven't done that with Wonder Woman yet. Well, they have Ra's al Ghul, who's a Superman villain, but they're all going to be combined because they're all working for the Joker. So,
or Darkseid, probably.
Darkseid. Well, yeah. Well, Darkseid's coming in the DCKO thing, which we'll cover next week. And then there's he's also obviously his energy is what makes the Absolute Universe. So, all right, guys, I am starting to fade, and we are reaching the 3-hour mark. Thank you for. At one point, we had like 400 viewers. So I hope you all liked, subscribed, and
before you go, William, when do you want to do our watch along of the police movie that I recommended?
What police movie did you recommend?
Heat.
At some point, yeah.
Because remember, it's our two favorite movies, and that would be a movie everybody could be a good reaction stream instead of these crappy comedies that we've been getting recommended.
Shots fired at Brad. That's hilarious. All right. Well, keep an eye out for that.
I mean, it's like we don't have to like do any more scary movie or Howard that watch party. So we do what we did
No,
today.
we watched that. Yeah.
What's hate
Mr.
about?
Min, I don't understand the obsession with that movie. It's not as. I agree with you, William. That movie is horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, a lot of people agreed with me back in '99 by not seeing.
Yeah,
it.
But a lot of people agree with us now by turning it into a cult classic. So
yeah,
we won the lost lost about 11.
Follow the money. All right, guys. See you tomorrow, 10:30. Please like, subscribe if you're watching us on the replay. Like, subscribe, spread the religion, spread the gospel of the geek. We'll see you tomorrow night for the weekend wrap-up show.
Yeah, see you guys.